use it for our facility, but we could not neglect the community.
Tuliweza kupata maji ambayo walichimba, at the same time wakaosha. So kwa adili tukawa tunapata kwa shilingi 10. Shule yetu pia ikawa imepata maji, ambapo hapo awali ilikuwa asubuhi kabla mtoto aingie kwa darasa wanapelekwa na walimu hadi kwa bahari, wanaleta maji na mitungi hadi jikoni.
Once again, good morning. Feel free to grab a cup of coffee, tea, before we start.
Through these partnerships, we can be able to create a change in these communities and create sustainable development within these rural communities.
Agribusiness is a significant contributor to the Kenyan economy. It contributes about 21% of GDP and is a very significant employer both directly and indirectly. So in the macro context, agriculture is a key driver of the Kenyan economy. When you look at Stanbic Bank, we've tried to align ourselves to this growth sector. Going to the subsectors that are driving agriculture, I think the main one is tea. Tea contributes about 215 billion in terms of foreign exchange earnings for the country. And as a bank, we did realize the huge potential that that sector affords the bank. So we did come up with very innovative solutions to support that sector. We have 4 verticals within the tea sector. We have the tea farmer that basically grows the tea. These tea farmers would then supply green leaf to a lot of the tea factories. Once the tea is processed by the tea producers, it is then taken to the tea auction. There you have brokers who act as intermediaries between the tea producers and the buyers. We've come up with a digital payment platform where the participants are able to make direct settlements once the catalogs are uploaded. So we have created a lot of efficiency within that sector, ensuring that the farmer does get their rightful due once the teas are sold at the auction.
About 40% of our tea was going to waste because we did not have enough factories to process them. We went ahead and put up a factory known as Kamarich Tea Factory. That factory has assisted us to have all the farmers leave, go to the factory instead of being wasted because of the capacity.
The factory capacity is 100,000 kilos green leaf, but currently we are processing about 80,000 to 100,000, but sometimes we surpass our capacity.
The exchange rate has come down to 128. Margins, we would want the shilling to be strong, but it is affecting now the tea industry in a way. Stanbic has come in strongly to assist us to carry on the activities of the organization, particularly at this time of difficulties in the tea market.
Most of these factories also do have a number of outgrowers who supply green leaf, averaging about 7,000 per factory. We have been able to offer a payment solution that will be able to ensure that green leaf payments reaches the farmer's account on time. We do also offer advances for the farmers as well as the employees of these factories.
Bureti is a family-owned enterprise that is currently on its 5th year of operation. In terms of milestones that we've achieved is actually being able to set up a tea processing factory with an initial capacity of 50,000 kilos of green leaf per day. Among the milestones that we've also got is ability to expand to 100,000 kilos per day.
For the independent tea producers, we've provided them with various forms of financial support. And this cuts across both long-term and short-term facilities. On the short-term end, we've provided them with working capital facilities, and this allows them to buy leaf from the farmer, which is then processed before the tea gets to the auction. On the long-term end, we've provided a number of our customers with growth capital to import machinery, and interestingly, we are seeing a lot of these customers also looking at going the renewable energy route. We came up with a solution where a lot of these independent tea producers were able to access funding, and that funding has been deployed towards accessing solar PV equipment, which comes at concessional rates. On the FX side, we do provide them with various solutions. Remember, these customers export tea, which the revenue is in dollars, but a lot of the expenses are in local currency. So FX hedging solutions, both on currency and interest rate, through solutions like interest rate swaps, are some of the solutions that we've provided to the independent tea producers.
How can we leverage the resources we have to drive our economy, to drive new jobs? Kenya has immense geothermal potential. The PPP is actually very key under the geothermal resource.
We also need to think about our regulatory space in terms of the innovations that are happening worldwide. You have AI, how can it make PPP projects more efficient?
Today really has reaffirmed that PPPs are not just financing mechanisms. These are catalysts for inclusive economic growth, and when designed well, they can unlock capital, transfer expertise, create jobs, and ultimately improve lives for our people.
Let us be open to understand which party across the value chain can be engaged to unlock those discussions, such that we're not using process to derail the conversation as well as implementation of PPPs.
I really wanted to have a sustainable business that is affecting the communities that I serve. And one of the things I saw is the Turkana community. They have vast amounts of fish, which is still underutilized, but they lack a viable market for it. So the fishermen are ending up in poverty, and the end customer is enjoying fish, but there's somebody making a lot of money, and that is not fair. So I saw that using renewable energy, I can be able to create a solution and create a transparent, traceable fish value chain from the fishermen all the way to the end customer.
Kabla ya dili hawajafika mahali hapa, wavuvi maisha yao ilikuwa mbaya sana. Kwa sababu gani? Samaki walikuwa wanapata, walikuwa wanauza kifungu shilingi 20, na soko haikuwa inapatikana mahali hapa. Ilikuwa either ufukishe hadi Kalokol ama ufikishe Lodwa ndio uuze. Ukiuza hapa unauza shilingi 20. Ukifikisha Lodwa unauza 50 bob.
When we came and set our facility up, we set the price to be 100 shillings per kilo. And right now I can say it's not just to us but also to other traders. They're being able to sell between 80 to 120 shillings per kilo for the fish. Just a fish processing facility has had impact on the community at large, because the community used to buy water at 7 shillings per jerrycan, and for us to be able to process fish, we needed a lot of water. So we had to come up with a way to draw water and treat it and use it for our facility, but we could not neglect the community.
Tuliweza kupata maji ambayo walichimba, at the same time wakaosha. So kwa adili tukawa tunapata kwa shilingi 10. Shule yetu pia ikawa imepata maji, ambapo hapo awali ilikuwa asubuhi kabla mtoto aingie kwa darasa, wanapelekwa na walimu hadi kwa bahari, wanaleta maji na mitungi hadi jikoni, kisha ndiye aingie kwa darasa.
Partnerships is very important. Through these partnerships, we can be able to create a change in these communities and create sustainable development within these rural communities.
Agribusiness is a significant contributor to the Kenyan economy. It contributes about 21% of GDP and is a very significant employer both directly and indirectly. So in the macro context, agriculture is a key driver of the Kenyan economy. When you look at Stanbic Bank, we've tried to align ourselves to this growth sector. Going to the subsectors that are driving agriculture, I think the main one is tea. Tea contributes about 215 billion in terms of foreign exchange earnings for the country. And as a bank, we did realize the huge potential that that sector affords the bank. So we did come up with very innovative solutions to support that sector. We have 4 verticals within the tea sector. We have the tea farmer that basically grows the tea. These tea farmers would then supply green leaf to a lot of the tea factories. Once the tea is processed by the tea producers, it is then taken to the tea auction. There you have brokers who act as intermediaries between the tea producers and the buyers. We've come up with a digital payment platform where the participants are able to make direct settlements once the catalogs are uploaded. So we have created a lot of efficiency within that sector, ensuring that the farmer does get their rightful due once the teas are sold at the auction.
About 40% of our tea was going to waste because we did not have enough factories to process them. We went ahead and put up a factory known as Kamarich Tea Factory. That factory has assisted us to have all the farmers leave, go to the factory instead of being wasted because of the capacity.
The factory capacity is 100,000 kilos green leaf, but currently we are processing about 80,000 to 100,000, but sometimes we surpass our capacity.
The exchange rate has come down to 128. Mergers, we would want the shilling to be strong, but it is affecting now the tea industry in a way. Stanbic has come in strongly to assist us to carry on the activities of the organization, particularly at this time of difficulties in the tea market.
Most of these factories also do have a number of outgrowers who supply green leaf, averaging about 7,000 per factory. We have been able to offer a payment solution that will be able to ensure that green leaf payments reaches the farmer's account on time. We do also offer advances for the farmers as well as the employees of these factories.
Bureti is a family-owned enterprise that is currently on its 5th year of operation. In terms of milestones that we've achieved is actually being able to set up a tea processing factory with an initial capacity of 50,000 kilos of green leaf per day. Among the milestones that we've also got is ability to expand to 100,000 kilos per day.
For the independent tea producers, we've provided them with various forms of financial support. And this cuts across both long-term and short-term facilities. On the short-term end, we've provided them with working capital facilities, and this allows them to buy leaf from the farmer, which is then processed before the tea gets to the auction. On the long-term end, we've provided a number of our customers with growth capital to import machinery, and interestingly, we are seeing a lot of these customers also looking at going the renewable energy route. We came up with a solution where a lot of these independent tea producers were able to access funding, and that funding has been deployed towards accessing solar PV equipment, which comes at concessional rates. On the FX side, we do provide them with various solutions. Remember, these customers export tea, which the revenue is in dollars, but a lot of the expenses are in local currency. So FX hedging solutions, both on currency and interest rate through solutions like interest rate swaps, are some of the solutions that we've provided to the independent tea producers.
How can we leverage the resources we have to drive our economy, to drive new jobs? Kenya has immense geothermal potential. The PPP is actually very key under the geothermal resource.
We also need to think about our regulatory space in terms of the innovations that are happening worldwide. You have AI, how can it make PPP projects more efficient.
Today really has reaffirmed that PPPs are not just financing mechanisms. These are catalysts for inclusive economic growth, and when designed well, they can unlock capital, transfer expertise, create jobs, and ultimately improve lives for our people.
Let us be open to understand which party across the value chain can be engaged to unlock those discussions, such that we're not using process to derail the conversation as well as implementation of PPPs.
I really wanted to have a sustainable business that is affecting the communities that I serve. And one of the things I saw is the Turkana community. They have vast amounts of fish, which is still underutilized, but they lack a viable market for it. So the fishermen are ending up in poverty, and the end customer is enjoying fish, but there's somebody making a lot of money, and that is not fair. So I saw that using renewable energy, I can be able to create a solution and create a transparent, traceable fish value chain from the fishermen all the way to the end customer.
Kabla ya dili hawajafika mahali hapa, wavuvi maisha yao ilikuwa mbaya sana. Kwa sababu gani? Samaki walikuwa wanapata, walikuwa wanauza kifungu shilingi 20, na soko haikuwa inapatikana mahali hapa. Ilikuwa either ufukishe hadi Kalokol ama ufikishe Lodwa ndio uuze. Ukiuza hapa unauza shilingi 20. Ukifikisha Lodwa unauza 50 bob.
When we came and set our facility up, we set the price to be 100 shillings per kilo. And right now I can say it's not just to us, but also to other traders. They're being able to sell between 80 to 120 shillings per kilo for the fish. Just a fish processing facility has had impact on the community at large, because the community used to buy water at 7 shillings per jerrycan. And for us to be able to process fish, we needed a lot of water. So we had to come up with a way to draw water and treat it and use it for our facility. But we could not neglect the community.
Tuliweza kupata maji ambayo walichimba, at the same time wakaosha. So kwa adili tukawa tunapata kwa shilingi 10. Shule yetu pia ikawa imepata maji, ambapo hapo awali ilikuwa asubuhi kabla mtoto aingie kwa darasa, wanapelekwa na walimu hadi kwa bahari, wanaleta maji na mitungi hadi jikoni, kisha ndiye aingie kwa darasa.
Partnerships is very important. Through these partnerships, we can be able to create a change in these communities and create sustainable development within these rural communities.
Agribusiness is a significant contributor to the Kenyan economy. It contributes about 21% of GDP and is a very significant employer both directly and indirectly. So in the macro context, agriculture is a key driver of the Kenyan economy. When you look at Stanbic Bank, we've tried to align ourselves to this growth sector. Going to the subsectors that are driving agriculture, I think the main one is tea. Tea contributes about 215 billion in terms of foreign exchange earnings for the country. And as a bank, we did realize the huge potential that that sector affords the bank. So we did come up with very innovative solutions to support that sector. We have 4 verticals within the tea sector. We have the tea farmer that basically grows the tea. These tea farmers would then supply green leaf to a lot of the tea factories. Once the tea is processed by the tea producers, it is then taken to the tea auction. There you have brokers who act as intermediaries between the tea producers and the buyers. We've come up with a digital payment platform where the participants are able to make direct settlements once the catalogs are uploaded. So We have created a lot of efficiency within that sector, ensuring that the farmer does get their rightful due once the teas are sold at the auction.
About 40% of our tea was going to waste because we did not have enough factories to process them. We went ahead and put up a factory known as Kamarich Tea Factory. That factory has assisted us to have all the farmers leave, go to the factory instead of being wasted because of the capacity.
The factory capacity is 100,000 kilos green leaf, but currently we are processing about 80,000 to 100,000, but sometimes we surpass our capacity.
The exchange rate has come down to 128. Mergers, we would want the shilling to be strong, but it is affecting now the tea industry in a way. Stanbic has come in strongly to assist us to carry on the activities of the organization, particularly at this time of difficulties in the tea market.
Most of these factories also do have a number of outgrowers who supply green leaf, averaging about 7,000 per factory. We have been able to offer a payment solution that will be able to ensure that green leaf payments reaches the farmer's account on time. We do also offer advances for the farmers as well as the employees of these factories.
Bureti is a family-owned enterprise that is currently on its 5th year of operation. In terms of milestones that we've achieved is actually being able to set up a tea processing factory with an initial capacity of 50,000 kilos of green leaf per day. Among the milestones that we've also got is ability to expand to 100,000 kilos per day.
For the independent tea producers, we've provided them with various forms of financial support. And this cuts across both long-term and short-term facilities. On the short-term end, we've provided them with working capital facilities, and this allows them to buy leaf from the farmer, which is then processed before the tea gets to the auction. On the long-term end, we've provided a number of our customers with growth capital to import machinery, and interestingly, we are seeing a lot of these customers also looking at going the renewable energy route. We came up with a solution where a lot of these independent tea producers were able to access funding, and that funding has been deployed towards accessing solar PV equipment, which comes at concessional rates. On the FX side, we do provide them with various solutions. Remember, these customers export tea, which the revenue is in dollars, but a lot of the expenses are in local currency. So FX hedging solutions, both on currency and interest rate, through solutions like interest rate swaps, are some of the solutions that we've provided to the independent tea producers.
How can we leverage the resources we have to drive our economy, to drive new jobs? Kenya has immense geothermal potential. The PPP is actually very key under the geothermal resource.
We also need to think about our regulatory space in terms of the innovations that are happening worldwide. You have AI, how can it make PPP projects more efficient?
Today really has reaffirmed that PPPs are not just financing mechanisms. These are catalysts for inclusive economic growth, and when designed well, they can unlock capital, transfer expertise, create jobs, and ultimately improve lives for our people.
Let us be open to understand which party across the value chain can be engaged to unlock those discussions, such that we're not using process to derail the conversation as well as implementation of PPPs.
I really wanted to have a sustainable business that is affecting the communities that I serve And one of the things I saw is the Turkana community. They have vast amounts of fish, which is still underutilized, but they lack a viable market for it. So the fishermen are ending up in poverty, and the end customer is enjoying fish, but there's somebody making a lot of money, and that is not fair. So I saw that using renewable energy, I can be able to create a solution and create a transparent, traceable fish value chain from the fishermen all the way to the end customer.
Kabla ya dili hawajafika mahali hapa, wavuvi maisha yao ilikuwa mbaya sana. Kwa sababu gani? Samaki walikuwa wanapata, walikuwa wanauza kifungu shilingi 20, na soko haikuwa inapatikana mahali hapa. Ilikuwa either ufukishe hadi Kalokol ama ufikishe Lodwa ndio uuze. Ukiuza hapa unauza shilingi 20, ukifikisha Lodwa unauza 50 bob.
When we came and set our facility up, we set the price to be 100 shillings per kilo. And right now I can say it's not just to us, but also to other traders. They're being able to sell between 80 to 120 shillings per kilo for the fish. Just a fish processing facility has had impact on the community at large, because the community used to buy water at 7 shillings per jerrycan. And for us to be able to process fish, we needed a lot of water. So we had to come up with a way to draw water and treat it and use it for our facility. But we could not neglect the community.
Tuliweza kupata maji ambayo walichimba, at the same time wakaosha. So kwa adili tukawa tunapata kwa shilingi 10. Shule yetu pia ikawa imepata maji, ambapo hapo awali ilikuwa asubuhi kabla mtoto aingie kwa darasa, wanapelekwa na walimu hadi kwa bahari, wanaleta maji na mitungi hadi jikoni, kisha ndio aingie kwa darasa.
Partnerships is very important. Through these partnerships, we can be able to create a change in these communities and create sustainable development within these rural communities.
Agribusiness is a significant contributor to the Kenyan economy. It contributes about 21% of GDP and is a very significant employer both directly and indirectly. So in the macro context, agriculture is a key driver of the Kenyan economy. When you look at Stanbic Bank, we've tried to align ourselves to this growth sector. Going to the subsectors that are driving agriculture, I think the main one is tea. Tea contributes about 215 billion in terms of foreign exchange earnings for the country. And as a bank, we did realize the huge potential that that sector affords the bank. So we did come up with very innovative solutions to support that sector. We have 4 verticals within the tea sector. We have the tea farmer that basically grows the tea. These tea farmers would then supply green leaf to a lot of the tea factories. Once the tea is processed by the tea producers, it is then taken to the tea auction. There you have brokers who act as intermediaries between the tea producers and the buyers. We've come up with a digital payment platform where the participants are able to make direct settlements once the catalogs are uploaded. So we have created a lot of efficiency within that sector, ensuring that the farmer does get their rightful due once the teas are sold at the auction.
About 40% of our tea was going to waste because we did not have enough factories to process them. We went ahead and put up a factory known as Kamarich Tea Factory. That factory has assisted us to have all the farmers leave, go to the factory instead of being wasted because of the capacity.
The factory capacity is 100,000 kilos green leaf, but currently we are processing about 80,000 to 100,000, but sometimes we surpass our capacity.
The exchange rate has come down to 128. Mergers, we would want the shilling to be strong, but it is affecting now the tea industry in a way. Stanbic has come in strongly to assist us to carry on the activities of the organization, particularly at this time of difficulties in the tea market.
Most of these factories also do have a number of outgrowers who supply green leaf, averaging about 7,000 per factory. We have been able to offer a payment solution that will be able to ensure that green leaf payments reaches the farmer's account on time. We do also offer advances for the farmers as well as the employees of these factories.
Bureti is a family-owned enterprise that is currently on its 5th year of operation. In terms of milestones that we've achieved is actually being able to set up a tea processing factory with an initial capacity of 50,000 kilos of green leaf per day. Among the milestones that we've also got is ability to expand to 100,000 kilos per day.
For the independent tea producers, we've provided them with various forms of financial support. And this cuts across both long-term and short-term facilities. On the short-term end, we've provided them with working capital facilities, and this allows them to buy leaf from the farmer, which is then processed before the tea gets to the auction. On the long-term end, we've provided a number of our customers with growth capital to import machinery, and interestingly, we are seeing a lot of these customers also looking at going the renewable energy route. We came up with a solution where a lot of these independent tea producers were able to access funding, and that funding has been deployed towards accessing solar PV equipment, which comes at concessional rates. On the FX side, we do provide them with various solutions. Remember, these customers export tea, which the revenue is in dollars, but a lot of the expenses are in local currency. So FX hedging solutions, both on currency and interest rate, through solutions like interest rate swaps, are some of the solutions that we've provided to the independent tea producers.
How can we leverage the resources we have to drive our economy, to drive new jobs? Kenya has immense geothermal potential. The PPP is actually very key under the geothermal resource.
We also need to think about our regulatory space in terms of the innovations that are happening worldwide. You have AI, how can it make PPP projects more efficient?
Today really has reaffirmed that PPPs are not just financing mechanisms. These are catalysts for inclusive economic growth, and when designed well, they can unlock capital, transfer expertise, create jobs, and ultimately improve lives for our people.
Let us be open to understand which party across the value chain can be engaged to unlock those discussions, such that we're not using process to derail the conversation as well as implementation of PPPs.
I really wanted to have a sustainable business that is affecting the communities that I serve. And one of the things I saw is the Turkana community. They have vast amounts of fish, which is still underutilized, but they lack a viable market for it. So the fishermen are ending up in poverty, and the end customer is enjoying fish, but there's somebody making a lot of money, and that is not fair. So I saw that using renewable energy, I can be able to create a solution and create a transparent, traceable fish value chain from the fishermen all the way to the end customer.
Kabla ya dili hawajafika mahali hapa, wavuvi maisha yao ilikuwa mbaya sana. Kwa sababu gani? Samaki walikuwa wanapata, walikuwa wanauza kifungu shilingi 20, na soko haikuwa inapatikana mahali hapa. Ilikuwa either ufukishe hadi Kalokol ama ufikishe Lodwa ndio uuze. Ukiuza hapa unauza shilingi 20. Ukifikisha Lodwa unauza 50 bob.
When we came and set our facility up, we set the price to be 100 shillings per kilo. And right now I can say it's not just to us, but also to other traders. They're being able to sell between 80 to 120 shillings per kilo for the fish. Just a fish processing facility has had impact on the community at large, because the community used to buy water at 7 shillings per jerrycan. And for us to be able to process fish, we needed a lot of water. So we had to come up with a way to draw water and treat it and use it for our facility. But we could not neglect the community.
Tuliweza kupata maji ambayo walichimba, at the same time wakaosha. So kwa adili tukawa tunapata kwa shilingi 10. Shule yetu pia ikawa imepata maji, ambapo hapo awali ilikuwa asubuhi kabla mtoto aingie kwa darasa, wanapelekwa na walimu hadi kwa bahari, wanaleta maji na mitungi hadi jikoni, kisha ndiye aingie kwa darasa.
Partnerships is very important. Through these partnerships, we can be able to create a change in these communities and create sustainable development within these rural communities.
Agribusiness is a significant contributor to the Kenyan economy. It contributes about 21% of GDP and is a very significant employer both directly and indirectly. So in the macro context, agriculture is a key driver of the Kenyan economy. When you look at Stanbic Bank, we've tried to align ourselves to this growth sector. Going to the subsectors that are driving agriculture, I think the main one is tea. Tea contributes about 215 billion in terms of foreign exchange earnings for the country. And as a bank, we did realize the huge potential that that sector affords the bank. So we did come up with very innovative solutions to support that sector. We have 4 verticals within the tea sector. We have the tea farmer that basically grows the tea. These tea farmers would then supply green leaf to a lot of the tea factories. Once the tea is processed by the tea producers, it is then taken to the tea auction. There you have brokers who act as intermediaries between the tea producers and the buyers. We've come up with a digital payment platform where the participants are able to make direct settlements once the catalogs are uploaded. So we have created a lot of efficiency within that sector, ensuring that the farmer does get their rightful due once the teas are sold at the auction.
About 40% of our tea was going to waste because we did not have enough factories to process them. We went ahead and put up a factory known as Kamarich Tea Factory. That factory has assisted us to have all the farmers leave, go to the factory instead of being wasted because of the capacity.
The factory capacity is 100,000 kilos green leaf, but currently we are processing about 80,000 to 100,000, but sometimes we surpass our capacity.
The exchange rate has come down to 128. Mergers, we would want the shilling to be strong, but it is affecting now the tea industry in a way. Stanbic has come in strongly to assist us to carry on the activities of the organization, particularly at this time of difficulties in the tea market.
Most of these factories also do have a number of outgrowers who supply green leaf, averaging about 7,000 per factory. We have been able to offer a payment solution that will be able to ensure that green leaf payments reaches the farmer's account on time. We do also offer advances for the farmers as well as the employees of these factories.
Bureti is a family-owned enterprise that is currently on its 5th year of operation. In terms of milestones that we've achieved is actually being able to set up a tea processing factory with an initial capacity of 50,000 kilos of green leaf per day. Among the milestones that we've also got is ability to expand to 100,000 kilos per day.
For the independent tea producers, we've provided them with various forms of financial support. And this cuts across both long-term and short-term facilities. On the short-term end, we've provided them with working capital facilities, and this allows them to buy leaf from the farmer, which is then processed before the tea gets to the auction. On the long-term end, we've provided a number of our customers with growth capital to import machinery, and interestingly, we are seeing a lot of these customers also looking at going the renewable energy route. We came up with a solution where a lot of these independent tea producers were able to access funding, and that funding has been deployed towards accessing solar PV equipment, which comes at concessional rates. On the FX side, we do provide them with various solutions. Remember, these customers export tea, which the revenue is in dollars, but a lot of the expenses are in local currency. So FX hedging solutions both on currency and interest rate through solutions like interest rate swaps are some of the solutions that we've provided to the independent tea producers.
How can we leverage the resources we have to drive our economy, to drive new jobs? Kenya has immense geothermal potential. The PPP is actually very key under the geothermal resource.
We also need to think about our regulatory space in terms of the innovations that are happening worldwide. You have AI, how can it make PPP projects more efficient?
Today really has reaffirmed that PPPs are not just financing mechanisms. These are catalysts for inclusive economic growth, and when designed well, they can unlock capital, transfer expertise, create jobs, and ultimately improve lives for our people.
Let us be open to understand which party across the value chain can be engaged to unlock those discussions, such that we're not using process to derail the conversation as well as implementation of PPPs.
I really wanted to have a sustainable business that is affecting the communities that I serve. And one of the things I saw is the Turkana community. They have vast amounts of fish, which is still underutilized, but they lack a viable market for it. So the fishermen are ending up in poverty, and the end customer is enjoying fish, but there's somebody making a lot of money, and that is not fair. So I saw that using renewable energy, I can be able to create a solution and create a transparent, traceable fish value chain from the fishermen all the way to the end customer.
Kabla ya dili hawajafika mahali hapa, wavuvi maisha yao ilikuwa mbaya sana. Kwa sababu gani? Samaki walikuwa wanapata, walikuwa wanauza kifungu shilingi 20, na soko haikuwa inapatikana mahali hapa. Ilikuwa either ufukishe hadi Kalokol ama ufikishe Lodwa ndio uuze. Ukiuza hapa unauza shilingi 20. Ukifikisha Lodwa unauza 50 bob.
When we came and set our facility up, we set the price to be 100 shillings per kilo. And right now I can say it's not just to us but also to other traders. They're being able to sell between 80 to 120 shillings per kilo for the fish. Just a fish processing facility has had impact on the community at large, because the community used to buy water at 7 shillings per jerrycan, and for us to be able to process fish, we needed a lot of water. So we had to come up with a way to draw water and treat it and use it for our facility, but we could not neglect the community.
Tuliweza kupata maji ambayo walichimba, at the same time wakaosha. So kwa adili tukawa tunapata kwa shilingi 10. Shule yetu pia ikawa imepata maji, ambapo hapo awali ilikuwa asubuhi kabla mtoto aingie kwa darasa, wanapelekwa na walimu hadi kwa bahari, wanaleta maji na mitungi hadi jikoni, kisha ndio aingie kwa darasa.
Partnerships is very important. Through these partnerships, we can be able to create a change in these communities and create sustainable development within these rural communities.
Agribusiness is a significant contributor to the Kenyan economy. It contributes about 21% of GDP and is a very significant employer both directly and indirectly. So in the macro context, agriculture is a key driver of the Kenyan economy. When you look at Stanbic Bank, we've tried to align ourselves to this growth sector. Going to the subsectors that are driving agriculture, I think the main one is tea. Tea contributes about 215 billion in terms of foreign exchange earnings for the country. And as a bank, we did realize the huge potential that that sector affords the bank. So we did come up with very innovative solutions to support that sector. We have 4 verticals within the tea sector. We have the tea farmer that basically grows the tea. These tea farmers would then supply green leaf to a lot of the tea factories. Once the tea is processed by the tea producers, it is then taken to the tea auction. There you have brokers who act as intermediaries between the tea producers and the buyers. We've come up with a digital payment platform where the participants are able to make direct settlements once the catalogs are uploaded. So we have created a lot of efficiency within that sector, ensuring that the farmer does get their rightful due once the teas are sold at the auction.
About 40% of our tea was going to waste because we did not have enough factories to process them. We went ahead and put up a factory known as Kamarich Tea Factory. That factory has assisted us to have all the farmers leave, go to the factory instead of being wasted because of the capacity.
The factory capacity is 100,000 kilos green leaf, but currently we are processing about 80,000 to 100,000, but sometimes we surpass our capacity.
The exchange rate has come down to 128. Mergers, we would want the shilling to be strong, but it is affecting now the tea industry in a way. Stanbic has come in strongly to assist us to carry on the activities of the organization, particularly at this time of difficulties in the tea market.
Most of these factories also do have a number of outgrowers who supply green leaf, averaging about 7,000 per factory. We have been able to offer a payment solution that will be able to ensure that green leaf payments reaches the farmer's account on time. We do also offer advances for the farmers as well as the employees of these factories.
Bureti is a family-owned enterprise that is currently on its 5th year of operation. In terms of milestones that we've achieved is actually being able to set up a tea processing factory with an initial capacity of 50,000 kilos of green leaf per day. Among the milestones that we've also got is ability to expand to 100,000 kilos per day.
For the independent tea producers, we've provided them with various forms of financial support. And this cuts across both long-term and short-term facilities. On the short-term end, we've provided them with working capital facilities, and this allows them to buy leaf from the farmer, which is then processed before the tea gets to the auction. On the long-term end, we've provided a number of our customers with growth capital to import machinery, and interestingly, we are seeing a lot of these customers also looking at going the renewable energy route. We came up with a solution where a lot of these independent tea producers were able to access funding, and that funding has been deployed towards accessing solar PV equipment, which comes at concessional rates. On the FX side, we do provide them with various solutions. Remember, these customers export tea, which the revenue is in dollars, but a lot of the expenses are in local currency. So FX hedging solutions both on currency and interest rate through solutions like interest rate swaps are some of the solutions that we've provided to the independent tea producers.
can we leverage the resources we have to drive our economy, to drive new jobs? Kenya has immense geothermal potential. The PPP is actually very key under the geothermal resource.
We also need to think about our regulatory space in terms of the innovations that are happening worldwide. You have AI, how can it make PPP projects more efficient?
Today really has reaffirmed that PPPs are not just financing mechanisms. These are catalysts for inclusive economic growth, and when designed well, they can unlock capital, transfer expertise, create jobs, and ultimately improve lives for our people.
Let us be open to understand which party across the value chain can be engaged to unlock those discussions, such that we're not using process to derail the conversation as well as implementation of PPPs.
I really wanted to have a sustainable business that is affecting the communities that I serve. And one of the things I saw is the Turkana community. They have vast amounts of fish, which is still underutilized, but they lack a viable market for it. So the fishermen are ending up in poverty, and the end customer is enjoying fish, but there's somebody making a lot of money, and that is not fair. So I saw that using renewable energy, I can be able to create a solution and create a transparent, traceable fish value chain from the fishermen all the way to the end customer.
Kabla ya dili hawajafika mahali hapa, wavuvi maisha yao ilikuwa mbaya sana. Kwa sababu gani? Samaki walikuwa wanapata, walikuwa wanauza kifungu shilingi 20, na soko haikuwa inapatikana mahali hapa. Ilikuwa either ufukishe hadi local ama ufikishe Lodwa ndio uuze. Ukiuza hapa unauza shilingi 20. Ukifikisha Lodwa unauza 50 bob.
When we came and set our facility up, we set the price to be 100 shillings per kilo. And right now I can say it's not just to us but also to other traders. They're being able to sell between 80 to 120 shillings per kilo for the fish. Just a fish processing facility has had impact on the community at large, because the community used to buy water at 7 shillings per jerrycan, and for us to be able to process fish, we needed a lot of water. So we had to come up with a way to draw water and treat it and use it for our facility, but we could not neglect the community.
Tuliweza kupata maji ambayo walichimba, at the same time wakaosha. So kwa adili tukawa tunapata kwa shilingi 10. Shule yetu pia ikawa imepata maji, ambapo hapo awali ilikuwa asubuhi kabla mtoto aingie kwa darasa, wanapelekwa na walimu hadi kwa bahari, wanaleta maji na mitungi hadi jikoni, kisha ndio aingie kwa darasa.
Partnerships is very important. Through these partnerships, we can be able to create a change in these communities and create sustainable development within these rural communities.
Agribusiness is a significant contributor to the Kenyan.
Let's all settle in our respective seats. We are just about to start.
And is a very significant employer both directly and indirectly. So in the macro context, agriculture is a key driver of the Kenyan economy. When you look at Stanbic Bank, we've tried to align ourselves to this growth sector. Going to the subsectors that are driving agriculture, I think the main one is tea. Tea contributes about 215 billion in terms of foreign exchange earnings for the country. And as a bank, we did realize the huge potential that that sector affords the bank. So we did come up with very innovative solutions to support that sector. We have 4 verticals within the tea sector. We have the tea farmer that basically grows the tea. These tea farmers would then supply green leaf to a lot of the tea factories. Once the tea is processed by the tea producers, it is then taken to the tea auction. There you have brokers who act as intermediaries between the tea producers and the buyers. We've come up with a digital payment platform where the participants are able to make direct settlements once the catalogs are uploaded. So we have created a lot of efficiency within that sector, ensuring that the farmer does get their rightful due once the teas are sold at the auction.
About 40% of our tea was going to waste because we did not have enough factories to process them. We went ahead and put up a factory known as Kamarich Tea Factory. That factory has assisted us to have all the farmers leave, go to the factory instead of being wasted because of the capacity.
The factory capacity is 100,000 kilos green leaf, but currently we are processing about 80,000 to 100,000, but sometimes we surpass our capacity.
The exchange rate has come down to 128.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Our chief guest is here, and all our invited guests as well are here. Thank you so much. I invite us all, just before we comfortably take our seats, to kindly stand for the anthem. If you don't mind, please stand on your feet. We're going to start with the anthem. The national anthem, please. East Africa anthem. Thank you so much. You may take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into this amazing day, I want us to do one thing a little differently. Just one thing a little differently. Think this way with me. Think Korean bow, think a Japanese nod, or even a hand at heart gesture. All right? That's a respectful, zero contact, zero carbon greeting. So please go ahead, look at the person sitting next to you and make it count. I'm just waiting and observing. There you go. There you go. I can see that. There you go. I saw someone do the Korean nod. Well done, well done. It's also somehow a way of helping us think constantly that sustainability is not just in the bigger things that we can think about, is it even the smaller things that we are told. How many of us, for example, whenever you visit this hotel, when you have gone for your business trip, and you see them with a nice card on the towel saying that we conserve water here, so if you don't mind, you can use this towel once or twice. And sometimes we're there. Most of us are very respectful because of sustainability, and we do that. And others? So, ladies and gentlemen, our chief guest, Honorable Lee Kenyanjui, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, Honorable Nasra Nanda. It's good to see you, member of Nairobi County Assembly and CEO, Kenya Green Building Society. Dr. Joshua Igaram, Chief Executive, Stanbic, Kenya and South Sudan. Our esteemed guests, partners and clients, investors, community, board members present, and the amazing Stanbic team, media present, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning once again. Karibuni sana to this significant gathering as we officially launch the 2024 Stanbic Holdings PLC Sustainability Report under the theme Deepening Impact. It's an amazing theme, deepening impact while building a sustainable future. So today we are not just unveiling a document like it's annually done. One of the other things that we are doing is reinforcing a commitment to people, commitment to planet, and a commitment to partnerships, and of course to purpose. So in a world where we are facing a lot of complex issues, I may say, from social, environmental, and economic challenges, Stanbic's sustainability journey stands as a bold statement that business can and must be a force of good. So this morning, we have an amazing array of visionary leaders from government, development partners, civil society, and the private sector who will be sharing their thoughts here in form of speeches, as well as an amazing panel discussion to engage us. And also, even as we are getting engaged, I appeal to you as well to engage back as well to the speakers. And we have created a way of doing that, and I'll be letting you know in a moment. So in a hearty welcome, and to welcome this moment, I want to request us all to put our hands together as we officially start this day. A round of applause, please, to mark the start of this day. My name is Maina Chege, and I'll be your moderator for this day. Just quick house rules. If you need to visit the washrooms, just right on my left, on your left again, you'll be assisted. There's some very nice green signages of exits. And I've been alerted by the the security team, that there is no planned fire drill. So if it happens, please exit to the nearest one, all right? The media team as well has put together some hashtags, if we could have them up. And that's the hashtag there. First of all, you could follow, if you're not following Stanbic, this is the moment now, at Stanbic Bank Kenya. And the hashtag for today is Stanbic Sustainability 2024. And the other hashtag is Deepening Impact. I normally say when the media team provides me with such hashtags, it means it's part of my KPI to ensure that it is used. So I want you to turn to the person sitting next to you, just give them another Korean nod or something and tell them I'm about to take a selfie with you, something like that, so that we can start using these things, you know. As I said again, it's part of my, so please ensure that the man who signed in my check does it well. So kindly, let's use that. Let's the world know that Stanbic is a pioneer when it comes to matter sustainability. So use that, hashtag Stanbic Sustainability 2024 and Deepening Impact. Am I seeing some hands taking selfies, or it was that fast? Oh, excellent. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Cabinet Secretary, you can have a chat with Joshua, who has the best phone. That's the one that will take this selfie today, you know, that kind of thing. And I normally say, if our chief guest is taking it, who are you? Thank you so much for that. So please allow us to tell the world and to tell others that we are talking about deepening impact and everything else. I'll also applaud you to interact with me today. And on your phone, I want you to type slido.com, and that's the passcode, just on your phone. Throughout the day, we have an amazing, as I've said, panel discussion. How you will ask questions today will be through that platform. And once you're logged in, you'll be able to see these two parts. There's the part of interacting with us today and Q&A. And I normally say, even as our chief guest is speaking, even as the guests are speaking today, that feel free to interact with them. I have a simple way of knowing how many people have managed to get in. And I have a question there that in one word, what does sustainability mean to you? In one word. What does sustainability mean to you? We'll be able to know how many people have managed to log in. So that should be it. And at least I can see we have some participants. This is one way of ensuring that today we are not just spoken to, but we also interact together with us. So feel free, don't overthink it. In one word, what does sustainability mean to you? Look at people and what they're thinking. Securing tomorrow, responsibility, longevity, impact, life after living, future. Maintain. Future is taking a lot of that. Excellent. So far 10 people are in and 7 are typing. Excellent. Lovely this. I like it. Impact. Future for all. Conserving for the future. Doing business to last future generations. That's the one word for that person. I like it. Longevity. Lovely. Life transcendence. I think at this moment I may need a dictionary. Excellent. A green, lovely. Better tomorrow. My sample was 20, but we have already hit 29 and going, and 8 are still typing. Thank you so much for that. This is what, in one word, the House feels when they think sustainability. When you see the larger numbers, it means most people are taking that impact takes the day. And then future and responsibility close there. Someone is saying survival. And someone else as well, I never miss this, has decided that the one word, and what does sustainability mean to them, is the passcode. Thank you so much. It's always important that we have such for good laughter. Thank you so much. Lovely. Just to check in the House what we are thinking about today, and then we shall get to our remarks today. Look at that poll. Which area do you think the private sector should invest more in to drive sustainability? In your own thoughts. Which area do you think the private sector should invest more in to drive sustainability? In your own thoughts. Is it climate and environment? Is it job creation and MSME support? Is it digital inclusion and education? Is it gender and youth empowerment? Is it affordable housing as well? In your own thoughts, which area do you think the private sector should invest more to drive sustainability? And this is really a way of just helping us think, and even help the speakers as they come here, what the House feels when we talk about private sector and what they need to do more to drive sustainability. All these areas, Stanbic Bank has a touch on them, and you'll be hearing that from the remarks today. And so it's very important to see, wow, a whopping 57% says what? Job creation and MSME support. Lovely. And I'm sure you will hear from the report that we're about to launch today what has been happening and going down today. Thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me at this moment to invite Priscilla Were, the head of sustainability at Stanbic, to kindly come and give her remarks in the opening. So round of applause to Priscilla as she comes to give her remarks. Welcome, Priscilla.
Good morning. Our chief guest, Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, Honorable Nazra Nanda, Member of the Nairobi County Assembly and CEO, Kenya Green Building Society, our esteemed guests, partners and clients, investor community, board members present, and my colleagues at Stanbic, media present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. Thank you for making time to join us today. It is a pleasure to welcome you to the launch of our 2024 Sustainability Report. This report comes at a very critical time in Kenya's history, a time when the call is clear. We need positive and impactful initiatives, policies and frameworks that solve both immediate and long-term needs of our people and the environment. For instance, Africa's population has expanded fivefold since 1960 to more than 1.5 billion in 2024, calling for stronger and more efficient systems and resource management approaches. Adding to this, it is expected that Africa's working age population will increase from approximately 883 million in 2024 to 1.6 billion in 2050. And this constitutes almost about 25% of the global working age population. This, amid many emerging gaps, such as climate change, cost African countries 2 to 5% of our GDP annually, including prevalent informal sectors, which lead to decent work deficits and low productivity. What this essentially means is that we need to build industries and economies that can adequately meet the region's needs while still harnessing our resources responsibly. Sustainable solutions, therefore, become both an enabler and a catalyst, presenting opportunities for innovation and growth across key sectors, including SME, agriculture, trade, and manufacturing. As a bank that has been operational for more than 112 years, we have contributed to the growth of this country. But also, we have been able to gain knowledge, capacity, and resources to adequately comprehend the unique needs that we have in Kenya and the East Africa region and the required interventions. Our sustainability agenda, which has been developed with key partners and key stakeholders, has been a grounding piece for us and has made immense impact on our decision-making and our strategy. Our theme this year, Deepening Impact and Building a Sustainable Future. This theme reinforces our commitment to our communities, our industries, sectors, and the regional economies. But it's also a challenge that enables us to think deeper and to work smarter to address emerging societal and economic and environmental issues. We believe that there is no one-size-fits-all. When it comes to sustainability, it means we must place our region's sustainability gaps and solutions within the palm of our hands. Taking these things into account, culture, the weather patterns, demographics, and many others into consideration. As such, we have been able to tailor our 4 impact areas as part of our sustainability strategy, being job creation and enterprise growth, climate change mitigation and adaptation, infrastructure development and just energy transition, and financial inclusion. These are critical areas that help us shape the region's sustained development. We are proud of the progress that we've made so far, and we continue to collaborate with our partners who are here today, our employees, our clients, and other key stakeholders to drive multi-generational positive impact and wealth. Today, you will hear about some of the work we have done around sustainability commitments, and also you'll get to interact with some of our key partners and stakeholders. I trust that today's event will not just be any other sustainability event, but one that will affirm and inspire all of you to drive sustainability in your homes, in your organization, and in the country at large. Thank you very much. Over to you, Maina.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate Priscilla, and well done on leading this particular side of sustainability at Stanbic Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, in the same breath, allow me to invite Edwin Mushai, the Chief Risk Officer and Chair of the Sustainability Agenda in the bank, to also give his remarks. Let's welcome him one more time as he comes.
Thank you, Maina. Morning, everyone. Allow me to observe the following protocols. Our chief guest, Waziri, Honorable Lee Kenyanjui, is a Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry. We also have Nazra Nanda, who is an MCA in the Nairobi County Assembly and the CEO of Kenya Green Building Society. I have a number of our board members here, as well as colleagues who lead the bank, including led by our Chief Executive, Dr. Joshua Igara. There are a number of our partners, our clients, the investor community, the media, and of course, everybody else that's in the room. Welcome to today's launch of our 2024 Sustainability Report. This is the biggest day in our calendar to allow us to effectively play back the things that we've been able to do in the last 12 months around the sustainability agenda. Standard Bank Group, which we are part of, prides itself as being a critical catalyst of Africa's growth, and we play that role in Kenya and South Sudan. So a lot of what we will be talking about are things which we think are relevant, not just for our shareholders, but also for our country and the people who live in our country. So I'm going to read a few prepared remarks here as I prepare to invite our next speaker. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning as we unveil our 2024 Sustainability Report. Sustainability remains a focal area for the public, companies and governments across the region. More recently, policy shifts that alter development funding to select African countries brought to light in key financing gap with a strong push for increased domestic funding towards sustainable development. This is one of the emerging areas that the region must grapple with, in addition to climate change risks, shifting geoeconomic dynamics, and the heightened industrialization drives. This is, however, not just a challenge, but as well an opportunity, which is why sustainability needs to cross over from boardrooms and policy-making platforms to a wider audience. And I think it's important to emphasize when we look at sustainability, we have a two-lens approach to it. One, which is what is our theme today about deepening positive impact, and equally also thinking about risk management, which is coined as ESG. It is critical, especially now, if we consider that for Africa, less than 6% of the 32 measurable SDG targets are on track to be achieved by 2030. I think everybody will agree that that is a very low achievement rate, especially now that we are about 5 years away from that date that we set ourselves. This means that in addition to policy intervention, there is need to strengthen our public and private institutions through sustainable processes, initiatives, and solutions. As a bank, this has and continues to be a critical part of the sustainability journey. I'll highlight some of the things that we've been able to do in 2024. One of them is we have bolstered our sustainability commitments through partnerships, innovative financing, and a global framework adoption, which Priscilla talked about, the 4 areas that we focus on. Some of our partners are here today as well, and they will be part of the program later on. Recognizing the unique and important role we play in driving the region's sustainability agenda, we've developed solutions, frameworks and platforms to advance economic resilience, climate change adaptation, and inclusive growth. To drive climate change mitigation and adaptation, we continued to effect responsible lending practices. Notably, we financed clean energy projects, including the issuance of a $500 million solar financing, while providing strategic expertise to help clients scale their decarbonization efforts. We actually run a special team for any financing we do above $1 million. We make sure we take it through an ENS, energy and social process to make sure that it meets some of the things that we've committed to in terms of decarbonization. To build economic resilience, we spurred economic growth by investing in key sectors, and we've supported SMEs, agriculture, and trade. Markedly, 9% of our loan book is dedicated to the agricultural sector, which is not just a catalyst for job creation and income growth, but also essential to food security. To drive inclusive growth, we bolstered our digital banking platforms, making financial solutions more accessible and affordable. Today, 91% of all transactions are processed digitally, which is critical to driving growth in our country. Further, as part of our mission to align purpose and profit, we measured and managed our risks effectively, adopting best practices and bolstering our governance frameworks. In effect, we embraced ESG not just as a credential, but a discipline that can deliver long-term sustainable growth. This is seen in our alignment with sustainability disclosure standards and frameworks, including the recently issued IFRS S1 and S2, and the Central Bank of Kenya's climate risk disclosure framework. It is also reflected by fidelity in our ESG screening processes, which I think I've just referred to, about how we deal with clients borrowing at least $1 million. These achievements, amongst others, were not only actualized through people who, backed by the support from the leadership team and the shareholders, embodied sustainability as a practice. And in fact, a lot of the tree planting activities are actually done by our staff. In closing, as it stands today, pressing economic, social, and environmental issues call for a renewed push towards sustainability. Underlying this push is the knowledge that protecting our people and the planet is not a cost, but an investment, and one that can alter the region's growth trajectory. With an estimated 170 billion requirement to address shortfalls in energy, water, and transport in Africa, we have a unique and critical role as a financial institution. Through innovation, partnerships, and strong governance, we are positioned to steer financing to the right sectors and accelerate the development of homegrown solutions in our region. It is a role we take quite seriously, as you will see when we launch the report, in Kenya, in South Sudan, and also as our group. I think our group released its report about a month ago, which talks to some of those achievements. Going forward, our approach remains two-pronged: driving positive impact and effectively managing ESG risk, which is an environmental, social, and governance risk. This is bolstered by our mission to deliver shareholder value while making positive socio-economic and environmental impact for the communities in which we operate. However, we know that we cannot do it alone, which is why we remain keen on leveraging partnerships, including those with obviously some of the people here and government, and shared synergies across the ecosystem. To this end, we continue to engage our people, clients, partners, and other stakeholders to build a resilient, inclusive, sustainable region through our solutions. With a clear sustainability agenda and enabling environment, we continue to stay true to our purpose. Kenya is our home, we drive her growth. And if I may, we do so sustainably. Thank you for your support in this journey. I will now welcome our Chief Executive, Dr. Joshua Oigara, to give his remarks.
Thank you very much, Edwin. Let me first welcome our chief guest for taking time, Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, for coming. I know the schedule for Lee has been quite a tough one, as you can imagine, in his travels, but thanks for honoring us today from your long journey to be here. Honorable Nazra Nanda for coming this morning. I want to appreciate Dr. Christoph, the team from GIZ, who have been long partners for ourselves, and obviously the industry and the country at large. I invested members from our foundation, today represented by, I know that Pauline is not with us today, but Doreen is here today with the team. Members of my leadership team, our board members, some of them are joining online. And I would say for every single person today is an exciting work that Priscilla and Edwin and the rest of the organization has put together. And I'll try to summarize my reflections, just thinking about what really you see. And a few weeks back, I spent some time speaking about the Africa Green Industrialization Initiative, which is just coming up before the Africa Climate Summit, which is going to be in Addis in September. And the conversations we were holding at the time, and that meeting was convened by the head of state, was about the role of really catalyzing industry, pushing the opportunities for the businesses and job creation. So I like mine around the conversations around job creations as one of the key issues and growth and SMEs, as a key anchor for us to be able to build the opportunities in our markets. And so getting Honorable Lee to join us, who is the right minister and a catalyst for that, is a fantastic opportunity to speak about the mission that we see. And across the continent, when you reflect about the things that we see, it's a very historic moment for the work that needs to be done. You know, sometimes we don't acknowledge that Kenya makes strides. Of course, as a champion of changes in our market, whether it's on the environmental aspect of action, or what you're doing from a governance aspect in terms of how we lead our businesses, or what you're doing just to change the impact we create for society, the full stream of ESG, many countries look up to us. But yet again, when you're sitting on your, what I call as a magic quadrant, the aim is to say, how do we progressively continue to lead and anchor ourselves? These conversations could be held anywhere in the world, and first on the continent. So if I reflected last year when we were here as a team and we spoke about what our ambitions are, I'll speak much more about our commitments, the themes that we set up last year, and I definitely love that impact, and deepening that impact is really what the values we're going to be able to do as an organization. So the journey remains, whether we are building on governance, accountability, transparency across all aspects of our businesses. Over the last year, we've seen a lot of work coming in, either from the central bank, the International Sustainability Standards Board as well, just to kind of converge the work that we are doing collectively. So today we sit to again speak about the progress that we've made, launch our own commitments and reports we've seen. I mean, around three main areas, which are the ones I'd like you to live with by the end of my conversations. There is a great moment for deepening commitments. So that's really one thing that will anchor our work as we build together, and also sharpening the matrices that we use to be able to measure the performances that we see, and obviously building greater partnership and integration. Those three cohorts, I call them more like your Holy Trinity, is what will get us into the heart of our businesses, not just for us as Stanbic, but as a lead in our organizations and also as we build these activities across the markets. So I'm quite proud that every single person we're navigating convergence around the architecture of our business and saying, how does every single person come along to be able to build a successful organizations, create the much more needed jobs and opportunities, and anchor the work for our SMEs that we have in our markets where we are operating. And so, as you know, for us as a large organization in many years, Africa and Kenya is home and South Sudan. We drive our growth. And the purpose why we really do it is we mean by investing squarely in the work that we do in all activities in our markets. So our reports, and we've seen these reports before, whereas there are not many in the industry, what I like to see that over the last couple of years, we've seen much more and more action being seen across the financial sector, including the banking sector in particular. And I want to say that either for all our clients, for our communities, for governments, for partners, significant value is seen in what we're able to do together. So I will just architect my messaging around, if you look at the year that has been, 2024, every single action we take as an organization, the purpose for us on how we live and how we lead is to drive our businesses and all our teams, our clients and our partners towards deepening impact. This is really the messaging for us across all our businesses. And I would say that if you think about the first pillar, which you mentioned earlier, and there's no coincidence that pillar is about enterprise growth and job creation. An area of focus for our own organizations is every single enterprise is at the heart and core of what we do as an organization. And through the foundations, the bank, the areas that we do in our business commercial banking, our corporate and investment banking, our personal banking, our insurance asset management, we try and get every single person today to say, how do we actually build those businesses and support them? And we've seen some of the numbers that our team has displayed just behind me, whether it is grants, whether it's catalytic funding on what we do with the GIZ and the team, the work that we're working with the Gates Foundation as an organization with our own foundation. So just that we can be able to anchor the growth of jobs and also build businesses in our markets. And that role is what we'll continue to do. We are the most significant bank in the agriculture business. There is no other organization that has deeper knowledge, capabilities to build both agricultural businesses and value chain investments in that area. So right from ensuring working capital, when you look at non-financial solutions, and today, just close to 10% of our portfolio today is within that aspect of agriculture, which is a big part of our economy at around 25%. If you look at the industry average, that should be close to 3.5% to 4%. And in the last year, more than 76 billion shillings has actually been invested either in trade financing for those businesses, so enabling economic activity from where we are. And therefore, the essential capital and resources required, you'll find that the bank is at the forefront in providing, whether it is local manufacturing, export-oriented businesses, with our anchor businesses both in the continent and in Asia and in China to grow industries. And obviously, a lot of work for me is to be able to continue creating more than 5,000 jobs in the work that we've done in the last. So this is just one way of continuously connecting all our networks and partners to build. It remains a key part of our, in the future, if we want to really touch communities and create social impact you're going to be able to invest very strongly in agricultural businesses in our economy. The second item is around the infrastructure development and also just energy transition. And this is so critical as really an enabler of what you want to do in the first priority I mentioned. Because without infrastructure, whether it's going to be your roads and your ports, your power supply, your water supplies, the industries you're going to be able to set, that doesn't get you much, which is the biggest concern about inclusive growth, which you want to be able to build, and access to markets by making products more affordable. So that's an area that we've been in more places, more interconnections. You know, most people remember us through the work we've done on the expressway. And I remember a lot of Kenyans were quite concerned around, is it really going to work? Today, you know, sometimes you find traffic on the expressway. So when you speak about many projects coming up, significant project you were speaking at the Africa Green Industrialization Initiative. So are you doing a bigger project into Mombasa, for instance? Is there work happening on the Rironi Mau Summit expansion? And that's an expertise that we have as an organization over many, many years. So I'm quite proud about our knowledge to curate those programs. Because one of the challenges you face, and over time, and Nasra will raise this, I'm sure, in our conversations, is how do you curate programs to become bankable for all ideas that we face in our markets? And that parameter is around just narrowing the scope of what is actually being able to be designed. There are many ideas, but unless you can convert them into something that is better in terms of how we work, what you find is financing becomes very limited, not just here, but globally. And the bank has a lot of capabilities in that area. So we continue to do, and then part of that is financing solar, renewable energies, clean energy. I mean, Kenya is generally much more today having clean power or green power, closer to 92, 93%, largely because of our investment in geothermal, into wind, solar. So we spend a lot of time in that investment as an organizations. I'll speak a little bit more about climate change, mitigation and adaptations, which is a lot of the areas that a lot of people see sustainability as, but I would say that our vision is to expand that to look at not just environment. We look at what you're doing in terms of governance and social impact. So we keep on, Edwin mentioned earlier, we spend more time appraising, assessing, reviewing the investment you're making in terms of credit, working with communities today to be able to increase our forestation cover across the markets, finding solutions for many ecosystems where we are, working with key water towers as an organizations, obviously equipping our people, using them, ring-fencing the work where we are. Our ambition is a journey for 1 million trees, working in partnership with the team from Kenya Breweries. This year, so far, we've done more than 30,000 trees across many foot points, either working in the west of the rift or working down in the mangroves within the the coastal area. And that partnership will continue to contribute our investment in what we see. So the 1 million trees ambition for 5 years reinforces a starting point on how we build the area of engagement for scale and collaboration. And then finally, I wouldn't close without talking about the real impacts for financial inclusion, because that's how generally we are seeing, how do you allocate finance as a solution sits in the center, in the nerve center of real economic translation and inclusion. And no other sector is as powerful and impactful in creating the resources, mobilizing capital to be able to bring it in our markets where we are. And I would say that also gives you empowerment, does give you dignity a lot for our clients, especially the digital clients that we spoke about today, and in a way democratizes access to resources that they wouldn't be able to have. So that's a big area for families, for communities, for small traders, what I call micro and nano entrepreneurs. And whether it's a women program that is very much well known, the data program we ran for many years, close to 38 billion shillings dispersed, more than 110,000 individuals have been accessed. And you can see the impact of those women entrepreneurs across each part. What excites me is many parts of the country. You actually find all these businesses be able to grow. We advanced, also we look at that in terms of just home ownership and the work that is done for affordable housing. So we may see the unit, but behind it is the little or the micro entrepreneurs, the businesses, building the doors, if you've been able a chance to visit those projects, getting the windows done, getting the bathrooms done. And some of those jobs collectively, they create billions of shillings of value for those families. Just last year, we had 2 billion shillings of affordable mortgage schemes issued to more than 250 families. And cumulatively, we are crossing the 3 billion mark Our ambition is to grow that into the 6 billion mark in the next 2 to 3 years. And across the digital program that we run very closely with the Microsoft team, over 77,000 youth have been accessed, provided information, trained, building their capabilities to grow their business and create an income. So that catalysm I spoke about, and maybe just to speak about the Africa Green Industrialization Initiative, if you think about what will be the greatest opportunity for us to reflect on is creating businesses, utilizing resources we have and the skills to create the jobs and opportunities in our markets. So today we're still big on trade, bringing in resources out there, but how do we use resources, capabilities, and the structure of our regulation in partnership with government to be able to actually invest, not just in Kenya, but across the region where we are the anchor. So that vision, which is what conversation will be happening at COP28, some conversations around what Kenya's role, and as you're aware, our head of state chairs this particular cohort of leadership within AGII this year. So Standard Bank has been a big group of investors across the continent. Stanbic Kenya is in that kind of program. We are the single largest institution which has committed in excess of $16 billion in the next 3 years to be able to catalyze investment in trade across the continent. And that's almost what our commitment for Kenya anyway is. Kenya's commitment is between $30 and $32 billion. So you can see the scope of what we need to do to be able to make the investments done. So that is our contributions. We've also been privileged to see recognitions. When I speak to Priscilla, there is a lot of positive acknowledgement of the work that we have done, not just from our partners, but also from very many different leaders that we have worked with. It just demonstrates that the work that you do as a team is valued in the work that we do in the communities. So looking ahead, the work that you do for building enterprises is a delicate job. It's also a complex job, one that is broad. Today, financial sector is seen as providing funding. When I listen to the corridors of conversations, what people see from banks is they see financial institutions as the most profitable organizations. And that's always a conversation that is held every time I have any discussions, either private sector. But banks are the significant holders of capital for the nation. If you look at the size of capital that is saved in the industry, we are only second to the sovereign. Every single saving across the nation is actually put within the financial sector. So it's no coincidence. Close to 8 trillion shillings worth. It's just almost the size of GDP, which is at 11, 12 trillion. So that is a context I think we always don't appreciate, that this is a sector that if you don't have it, the foundation of growth for your economy can be anchored. Yeah, and it's the same. We're not just you look at India, you look at China, you look at the US, you look at SA. It's that conversation we have to speak much more, just make sure we're all understanding. And then, so our tracking and our report today, I really look forward for the deepening of our commitments, being able to be sharper in the measures as we are providing, being more intense in the conversation around how we communicate and how we report. So those solutions really is about how we move forward. And this is a long-term commitment. Having been in the banking sector for a long time, I haven't seen a moment where leaders, communities, and partners have expected far too much of those who are leading the mantle of shaping the destiny of their nation. And that's why we sit in today to say, perhaps this is a historic moment we have been waiting for, in the words of Obama many years ago, that this is the team that you've been waiting for to be able to make the changes that you make. So looking forward for the rest of the day, and I want to hand over to Maina to be able to invite our chief guest to be able to give a keynote address. Thank you very much for listening to me, and enjoy the morning.
Let's appreciate the Chief Executive one more time. Thank you so much, Joshua. Honorable Lee Kinyanjui is the Cabinet Secretary for Investments, Trade and Industry, Republic of Kenya, and is the co-chairperson of the Economic Partnerships Agreement, EPA, Council of Kenya and the European Union. Previously, he served in this amazing city as governor of Nakuru County from 2022, and at his time he oversaw the elevation of Nakuru municipality to city status and was named the most business-friendly governor in Africa. I'm sure when he looks at the billions here that Stanbic has been doing, it's exciting him very much. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome Honorable Kinyanjui to kindly come, the Cabinet Secretary for Investments, Trade and Industry.
Thank you. Allow me first to recognize the Board and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Joshua Oigera, the Honorable Nazra, who's the CEO of the Green Building Society, partners who are here, customers, and all those who are listening to us today. I want to say that I'm happy to be here, partly because I'm a strong believer in sustainability. And any conversation that does not end with sustainability has no tomorrow. So I think as government, our key agenda is to ensure that we mainstream sustainability in all aspects of the economy. And banking is one such key area. And I'm also happy to note that Kenya is keen to take a lead on the sustainability conversation, because Kenya is not just another country. We are the keepers, or shall we say the home of the United Nations Environmental Program, the UNEP. And you know, a lot of conversations on the environment actually just started here in Nairobi. The late Professor Wangari Maathai also is one of our proud beacons in the environmental conservation, and therefore we take pride in this conversation. And I know sustainability is not just about the environment, but it's a key component within it, and I'm happy to be here. I'm also reminded of a concept in international relations where we talk about the tragedy of the commons. And that simply refers to when you have resources that are available for use by everyone, and there's nobody to safeguard how they are used. There's a tendency for misuse or over-exploitation, and the result of that is obviously society and everybody is at pain. So I think what you're trying to look at is how we can create systems, including a banking system that is also sensitive to some of these issues that are there. So with those few comments, allow me to read my speech, and obviously to again take this opportunity to congratulate the bank for this mark. It is an honor to join you today as we celebrate the launch of the Stanbic Holding PLC 2024 report. In September 2015, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development were adopted by the world leaders. The overarching rationale for the SDGs is to eradicate poverty, protect the planet, and end inequality. Included in the 17 SDGs are the eradication of poverty through inclusive economic growth that provides sustainable jobs and provides equality, infrastructure investment, sustainable industrial development, and technological progress, and food security and sustainable agriculture. Similarly, the Paris Agreement is inextricably linked to sustainability and inclusive growth. It seeks to limit global warming, promote climate resilience, and drive a just global warming, and limit global warming, while also promoting resilience and drive a just transition towards low carbon and climate resilient economies. The values, and also values that resonate deeply with today's economy. On the home front, Kenya has maintained the concept of sustainability by adopting a multi-sectoral approach. Our commitment as a government is demonstrated by a robust policy framework, which include provision on circular economy, good governance, sustainable finance, guiding principles, the international cooperation, and ESG integration, as well as integrated management of the environment and natural resources. Allow me, therefore, to congratulate Stanbic Holdings PLC for hosting such an important event themed Deepening Impact, Developing a Sustainable Future. This clearly demonstrates your commitment to corporate responsibility. This launch is more than just a report. It represents a mindset that understands long-term business success and is closely linked to environmental stewardship, social impact, and sound governance. In an era where climate change, inequality, and economic volatility define our global challenges, prioritizing sustainability is no longer optional. As a government, we firmly believe that sustainability is a shared responsibility. It involves implementing policies, fostering partnerships, and adopting practices that protect environment, promote social equity, and enhance economic resilience. We are encouraged to see that Stanbic's sustainability agenda aligns so closely to our national priorities, including the bottom-up economic transformation model, the Kenya Vision 2030, and our global commitments under the Sustainable Development Goals, that's SDGs, and the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. Ladies and gentlemen, the private sector plays a crucial role in driving positive environmental, social, and economic outcomes, contributing to a more sustainable and prosperous future for our country. By implementing eco-friendly practices, investing in renewable energy, promoting circular economy models, and aligning with international sustainability standards models, and aligning businesses not only reduce their environmental impact, but also foster green job creation and support a more sustainable national economy. I am encouraged by the progress of Stanbic in empowering micro, small, and medium enterprises, expanding access to finance for women and youth, and also supporting green investments and integrating environmental, social, and governance practices into your business model. The government has made efforts in incentivizing sustainable practices through a variety of mechanisms, including fiscal policies, regulatory frameworks, and targeted investments. The Green Fiscal Policy Framework, for instance, seeks to steer Kenya's economy into a desired low-carbon, climate-resilient, green development pathway through a variety of fiscal and economic mechanisms. Green fiscal reforms can help shift consumption patterns, generate additional revenue, and drive private investment in projects and programs that adopt climate-friendly production mechanisms. My ministry's mission centers on promoting sustainable and inclusive growth aimed at transforming Kenya into a middle-income country by 2030. This involves fostering a globally competitive and diversified economy with a focus on industrialization while ensuring the benefits are shared by all citizens, including such as the Jaza Miti campaign, where we seek to plant 15 billion trees, water conservation projects, and sustainable water management. We also have the skills development, and this involves access to digital technologies and decent work, and also DigiCen, among others aimed at ensuring sustainability and inclusive growth. May this event mark the beginning of successful and meaningful engagement with your institution in the spirit of transformative public-private partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, The government is committed to collaborating closely with institutions such as Stanbic Holdings to ensure sustainability frameworks that promote environmental health and social equity. These partnerships aims to unlock green finance opportunities, facilitating investment in renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and eco-friendly infrastructure projects. By doing so, we strive to drive inclusive development on a large scale, ensuring that economic growth benefits all segments of society while safeguarding our natural resources for future generations. Together, we can create a robust ecosystem that fosters innovation, resilience, and a sustainable future. As we launch this report today, I encourage all stakeholders to take inspiration from Stanbic's journey and keep pushing boundaries in pursuit of a more just, resilient, and sustainable Kenya. Let this not just be a ceremonial commemoration, but the beginning of deeper and more strategic engagements between the government and the private sector. I wish you fruitful deliberations and meaningful partnerships ahead as we jointly seek solutions to make Kenya a better place. And while ending, allow me just to cite the expressway, as has already been said here. And maybe some of us have not taken time to just appreciate what a difference it has made to the country. Today, when meetings are being planned for Nairobi, the benchmark is how far you are from the expressway. Because for me, I live right across, but I sometimes drive all the way up to Mombasa Road, get the expressway, then come here. It takes me about 12 minutes to be here. Now, the other route will probably take 30 minutes, maybe 40, maybe 1 hour. You're not too sure. But what does that mean from an environmental point of view when you have 100 vehicles or 300 vehicles stuck for hours on end? If you look at the amount of time we were losing, if you look at the emissions from those 200, 300, 400 vehicles wasting on the traffic jam, then you begin to understand that innovative financial solutions can also impact the environment positively. But I think our goal is to say that sometimes on your way to Nakuru, between Nairobi and Nakuru, we have had times when people have been there for 4 or 5 hours. So the same story is replicated in other parts of the country. And therefore, the question we need to be asking is, can the success of the expressway find many other places? And our banks, I'm happy to hear that you are there to make it happen. Thank you, and may God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Waziri. And just before you go, Waziri, I think I would like to draw your attention, because we will quickly want to appreciate you for even making it through the expressway very fast here. I want to request Dr. Joshua to kindly come so that at least we can appreciate Waziri with a gift courtesy of Stanbic, and really for coming in here. And so I want to request, I can see Priscilla is ready with it. So if you could kindly. There you go. And remember, if you want to interact with Waziri, I have room. Anybody with a question, you could have sent it right away to our Slido. There you go. There you go. I understand we have one more picture there. There you go. There you go. Let's all look straight in there. There you go. There you go. Lovely. Lovely. Does anybody got a question for Waziri? Anybody with a quick question? Just going once, going twice. But Waziri will still be around. If you have any, send it there. Thank you so much, Waziri. A round of applause to him as he takes his seat. Excellent. I can assure you, Waziri, that that gift is within minimum threshold for public servants, and it is sustainable. Excellent. There you go. At this moment, ladies and gentlemen, as we transition to our amazing panel, I would like to draw your attention to the screen. We have heard about tree planting and what has been done, so please take a look as we transition to the panel. Thank you very much. Let's appreciate that moment. A lot of work being done to our environment, and thank you so much for the good work that has been done. Allow me at this moment, ladies and gentlemen, to invite my panelists. And very fast, I want to request Dr. Joshua to kindly come and join me right here. Needs no more further introduction. And of course, joining us as well is Honorable Nasra. A round of applause to her, Nasra Nanda. She's right here. Honorable Nasra is passionate lawyer, a very passionate lawyer in training, and honorable member of the County Assembly in Nairobi City County, and CEO and ESG lead at the Kenya Green Building Society and chairperson of the Africa Regional Network of the World Green Building Council. By the way, Honorable Nasra's objective is to showcase Africa to the world and similarly redefine sustainability in a way that best applies to the global south. Let's appreciate her with a clap first. And of course, in the house as well, joining us in this panel, we also have Mr. Edward Kerich. A round of applause to Edward as he comes. And Edward as well leads the Consulting and Risk Services line of service at PwC East Africa and is the Sustainability Lead for PwC Eastern Africa. Specializes in governance, risk management, compliance, and leads ESG support to PwC clients. Ladies and gentlemen, actually lady and gentlemen, welcome to this particular panel. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that this panel also wants to interact with you. So feel free as well in the few minutes that we have to interact with them on the Slido given, still on your tab, so that you can ask your questions and really interact with the people. So Zach, if you don't mind, I would like to as well remind them that we have the Slido on the screen for the sake of asking any question or interacting with the lessons that we have. Dr. Joshua, I would like to start with you. You have just given amazing remarks, and looking at the levels of deepening impact as we were talking about today, and the theme of the day, it's really quite some work that you have done. You have said in a very bold way that you hold, as a bank, in the private sector, the financing that comes in into ensuring these works happen. So what is the role of the private sector, really? Because you represent that. Anytime we have conversations with you, private sector comes very handy for you. What's the role that you see of the private sector in really driving this agenda of sustainability?
Mine, I would say, listening to our chief guests, the real challenge has always been that a lot of this work has been left to public sector for a long, long time. And in reality, the people that are real actors are not necessarily your state actors. So around conversation in boardrooms, conversations in your loan committees, conversation going on in industry, there's a quiet transformation happening. There's a shift that is happening around what do we do. And I'm proud to see in the last couple of years, so the priorities we set, I am convicted the private sector collectively has got the real muscle to engineer, to catalyze, and be the end leaders for how we see inclusive growth. So that's what I see for ourselves, for our own organization. So because of our big size on the continent, we're seeing every single actor, they don't have to be the largest organizations. And Maina, we've been with you when there was no one willing to deliver public commitments on ESG or sustainability reports. In 2010, this market was quiet. No one was willing to. So I'm seeing that transformation is happening, providing capital, providing the guidance, seeking partnerships, and also basically expanding our reach. If you look at what we do, the work we do with GIC, and GIC has been one of our most informative transformational partner we've had for a long time, for many years. And to see us learn, to check benchmarks, to grow with their knowledge, to build businesses, to bring in capital, I would say that is the next level. We haven't been able to take off yet, but I would say this is perhaps the historic moment, Maina, we need to get everybody aligned to drive sustainability on all levels of our economy.
So the journey still continues.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Joshua. And I would like to allow our members in the house to as well interact with us, and we have a poll that I would like you to as well interact with, because this panel is purely surrounding ourselves on this. Where does the greatest potential for sustainable impact lie today? So if you don't mind, still on that same Slido, let us know your thoughts on this. And remember, on the same tab on the other side as well, you can ask a question or two to the panelists. Joshua has strongly said that the journey still continues, and this is the right moment, this is the right time to really jump in. So feel free to as well make sure that you participate in it. How to join in is slido.com, and then make sure you type that passcode 7584589. So where does the greatest potential for sustainable impact lie today? And look at the polls coming in. We can see a lot of people already starting to say there's stronger public-private partnerships, and I'm happy we have government representatives here and private partnerships. But that does not in any way say that we cannot proceed on. So please let it come by. Honorable Nasra, I'm sure you can see that. There's a reason why I pushed that poll there before you speak, because the moment we have HON as the initials of the first name, it means government is close to your heart. So let's come to you. We're talking about partnerships. As you can see, the poll really says a lot here that we're talking about public-private partnerships. My question to you is this: what do we do to accelerate sustainable development with this in mind of partnerships, and what can we also do to ensure this collaboration with private capital and public as well, to ensure we have proper sustainable growth? I have asked you a two-part question, but please go ahead and help us understand what your thoughts are.
Thank you so much. Firstly, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Thank you. So for me, sustainable development is where prosperity, dignity, and legacy come together. So if you were to understand or unpack what sustainability is for your three key stakeholders, for communities, it's about dignity. I have to live well, even for me to think about making money first or building an economy. And then for the private sector, it's about prosperity. We are in the business of making things work so that there are jobs, profits. And then lastly, for government, it's about creating legacy. Now, when these three stakeholders and what drives them come together, then partnerships like those with Stanbic is what makes them possible. And in that regard, can we then come together to deliver the solutions which are not just inclusive because they reflect these three key stakeholders, but are ambitious and practical? The untapped potential we have, and I'm really happy to see the public-private component was really a key consideration for the audience here, is that we can then, by working together, move beyond pilots or one-off events, and instead create lasting partnerships that reflect long-term projects that can impact the communities, enhance business opportunities, and of course, give back to the legacy. In terms of the collaborative opportunities, which was your second question, I think we need to understand that there's an opportunity to blend public and private sector capital so that we can de-risk investments. Without de-risking investments, then we can't open up the market. And so in this regard, my view is Stanbic plays a key role in translating sustainability. We don't lack technical expertise in Africa. What we lack is the language to make it relational. I will not invest in what I don't understand. And if I don't understand, you're not going to move the market into a green market. So I think that's a huge opportunity. And by doing so, then, Stanbic's potential can be fully leveraged into translating bankability into market-ready products. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Nasra, for that. I was also hoping that you would touch on that private conversation you had with Dr. Joshua later on how we can make these programs bankable, but you tell us more on that, because we want to ensure that you're also in the system and you never say you don't have money to ensure that you are driving sustainability. Edward, let me bring you in. You do a lot of work in ensuring that the organizations that are under your care are living the truth of sustainability. And so what are the most pressing sustainability expectations that you're seeing emerging from the markets, especially for investors and consumers? And how are you as a market stakeholder shaping these conversations on sustainability strategies?
No, thank you, Maina. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First, to congratulate Dr. Joshua, Edwin, and Priscilla and the Stanbic team on this report launch. It is an area that I believe follows down on your question on what are we seeing in the market. 2 months ago, we published a report in PwC about an analysis of the sustainability reports that have been published by over 240 companies. And about 50 of those companies were in the financial services space. And what we are seeing, the pressing issues coming out is the demand for that more transparency, to build trust with what organizations are doing around the environment, around the society and the communities that they live in, and then on the governance space. And those three will probably be the umbrella bodies that we will package sustainability in there. On the governance front, lots of expectations around disclosures on how business conduct themselves, the ethical way in which they do business, how they govern the organization, the presence or the diversity of the team from the board level. We see a lot of expectations around the social side, starting with how you work and treat your employees, how you support the society, how you engage in aspects around things like privacy and data privacy and security, data security, aspects around responsible use of artificial intelligence that is coming on board. And then on the environment side, a lot of what we are seeing here, and very happy with the 4 material topics that was discussed that Stanbic is focusing on. I think overall we are seeing a shift in first the strategy of the organization, that you're shaping the way you do business, and Dr. Oigara talked about 9% of the loan book going to the agricultural space. Priscilla talked about the energy transition that we are seeing. So we are seeing strategically companies repositioning their strategy and saying, what in a financial services space, for example, what percentage of my loan book needs to be green? And it can be an ambitious target, but then with a roadmap to say, this is how I will get there.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. I feel I will be doing a disservice because there's so many questions that have come in. So Dr. Joshua, allow me not to ask the second question that I prepared for you, but go ahead to what the audience have asked. And thank you so much for interacting with us. The first one is to you by a gentleman called Polycarp. Thank you so much for the question. To Joshua, what does successful, sustainable private-public partnership look for you, and where does the youth plug into that?
So it's a great question, because when you look at the demographics, the actors in our nation across the continent, and especially Kenya, is largely young people. If you look at below the age of 25 and 35, we were talking about more than close to 70%. So what I would say from our perspective is every single investment we make as an organization, so the policy frameworks does exist. Actually, if we look at the targets set by government on the level of inclusion, we're still quite behind. Even in terms of how they're engaged, how they are resourced, the business that they're doing, that's quite lower today. The target of 30% hasn't been reached, even for us. And that's one area we are very intentional and deliberate. But I see it's a double-edged sword. It's a 2 dimensions, as Nasser will actually speak much more about it. You need to be able to build an enterprise that be able to provide the service that then gets off-taken. That's always the conundrum that we face today in there. There is the bigger ambition, but obviously building a business is also quite intentional. And as the work we're doing, I have seen tremendous progress in the business we build. So our foundation spends more time getting a business from unbankable to somewhere else where it can actually be seen. And they provide seed capital, training, capability, access to market. When those things are unlocked, what you find is that the little giant starts building themselves from there. So that's where we're seeing. So across our businesses, our lending platforms, our businesses, our tech, so we see them in some areas. On entertainment, in music, in technologies, in design, we see that is happening in there. And those are the solutions we have. And then finally, a lot of impact we see is around our data program for women entrepreneurs, women-owned, women-led, or women-managed. And if you look at the amount of funding, and the amount, more than 100,000 people have actually been accessed, and the amount of funding we've delivered in the last couple of years, that is demonstrated our commitment to be able to build them. So that's a long-term journey. Now, we have to build that with the work that government is doing. And some of those business we do is with the ministry. that, for instance, Lee Kinyanjui leads today. And it's not an accident that actually is here as our chief guest.
Absolutely. And the number actually is right here, 37.8 billion data loans. Thank you so much for that. Honorable Nasser, there's a question for you. Is urban planning effective in Nairobi County, considering your role at the County Assembly and as CEO of KGBS?
Thank you. I really like this question because it gives me the opportunity to really expand even on sustainability. So no, we've been really struggling in Nairobi because with urban sprawl, and I think over time, the neglect of understanding that prosperity should not be at the expense of the community, or rather, we are partners. One is not losing as the other builds. This has suffered greatly. But what we've been able to do over time, and I'll speak in my two hats, as KGBS, we've successfully ensured that the built environment is now a player in sustainability. We were the only player that served as a technical partner at the Africa Climate Summit. That was deliberate because we wanted the government to understand that when you talk about climate action or resilience, it's not in isolation. It happens in our cities. Until the government understands the context of a sector, you will not have a partner in changing a market. And so through that, then, we were able to build up and have the government commit to commitments at COP28 and COP29. And as we sit now, Kenya is the vice chair for buildings and climate. And recently, we've just announced with the IFC to mainstream green standards. There's a cooperation agreement that was signed, I think, early this month. So it's a journey. It won't happen overnight. But with the Nairobi Climate Change Act, we can start now having more players in the game push back on what is at the expense of citizens and how we can protect the environment. Recently, there was a conversation around encroaching on or utilizing the Nairobi National Park because of the growth in population. And massive outrage, legitimate. And the good thing about that is we have a young population that is informed, and I want to say that the law is your friend. Utilize it because it gives you the instruments to push back. And so in this regard, we're working towards that. We're not perfect, and it's been a journey, but I think there are lots more positives that have happened over the last year in terms of urban development from a policy perspective. Where the shortfall is implementation, and that requires partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Edward, question for you here, two-part as well. How can businesses leverage ESG reporting and transparency to gain a competitive edge? And one more as well. Yes, it's right here. Is writing a sustainability report a unique skill that should be acknowledged?
Okay, thanks, Maina. So on the first point, let me reference a study I saw done at the University of Pretoria about 10 years ago, Gibbs Business School, where they were trying to establish what drives the market valuation of companies in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And they could attribute a value over and above the financial impact and the financial results, financial valuation, to a premium that came up because of sustainability reporting and disclosures. So when you open up yourself, you build that trust, and when people see that this is a sustainable business, they are more comfortable to pay a premium to the value of your share. So there is actually, I believe, direct benefit by those sustainability reporting. I think secondly is to say the population, the consumers, the staff want to see responsible companies from a sustainability perspective. So you will be able to see direct benefit from this. You will see a lot of more like-minded partners, Stanbic, I believe, GIZ and others. When they see what you're doing, I've seen organizations in country getting people saying, can we partner, can we support you in your sustainability journey? If you look at, I think even through the Kenya Bankers Association, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, the insurance side, they've gotten support from like-minded people, and I believe that's where the benefit lies. Now, the skill set on writing a sustainability report, one of the things I always encourage companies is to plan from the beginning of the year what your sustainability report will be. So you can't just look back and say, what did we do? So it's much better when you plan and budget to say, we are going to plant 30,000 trees like you've seen, and you actualize it over time. And then you can make sure that your sustainability report touches all the areas. If you find, for example, you have a mismatch in your agenda between your employees or at the board level, it's not something you can change immediately, but you can plan for it to say, I need to do some rebalancing. If you look at things like the source of emissions, like in the financial service, business travel, employee commute, and the like, you can plan on that. So the skill on writing it, I believe, is better positioned at the beginning of the year, that you already then plan on what it is that will be included, and it will be a much more credible, verifiable report that you get.
Thank you. And I think that question came from a place where we have seen a lot of people also writing. Probably there's a speciality in writing into that. Thank you for that question. My panelists, allow me to, because we have so many questions, but I'll only give 60 seconds to each of you to the number of questions I'll ask you. So Dr. Joshua, I know we can do a quick fire with me. I have 2 questions for you here. So Dr. Igara, are there new standards, I think, and it refers to ISSB, for sustainability reporting? Is the bank prepared to align with them? And then number 2, governance seems to take a back seat in ESG conversations sometimes. What is Stanbic doing to enhance governance practices, especially in its partner MSMEs? I think it's been included. So please go ahead.
So Moina, I'm quite proud that standards come far behind. So we have always been doing this work. So our question is not adopting. Actually, the standards are catching up with what we have been doing, which is kind of what happens in new innovation areas. So I would say we are quite ahead. So when you look at the new standards which have been issued, S1 and S2, we definitely will be quite prepared. We are more than ready. Yeah. And we welcome the move, absolutely. Okay. So it will not be a challenge for us. Actually, Dennis, who sits here, has been kind of doing that work, expecting the standards to come. Okay. And now we are from 2024. I would say from governance, it's an area that we've done much work. It addresses many issues about our own business strategy, the risk profile organization, the diversity ambitions that we have. So we don't focus a lot on just environment and look at what we do in terms of social impact, but also dealing with what we do with our governance. So it's an area we are very strong at. So you may not see it as much, but the diversity area in terms of how we are building different parts of our organizations. I mean, when you look at our organizational construct, it's a 50-50 or 51-49 from a staff perspective. But we haven't achieved that level yet as you move into your senior executive in the organizations. And that's an area we are focusing on.
Lovely. And thanks for keeping time on that. So there's a question for you, Honorable Nasra. I think the question was about whether you are embedding, there you go, yeah, it's right here. How does the county government include the concept of sustainability and green buildings in Nairobi? I think you touched on that, but quick answer to that.
We passed the Nairobi Climate Change Act last year. I think it was December. And we're in the process of identifying how we can implement the provisions of the Act. And separately, we're currently discussing the draft green building guidelines with Nairobi County. So, yeah, thanks.
Lovely. Edward, quick fire as well on you, and I'm going to give you again 2. So here it is. What do you find as the #1 hindrance to Kenyan individuals, public and private sector enterprises mainstreaming sustainability? What do you find as the #1 hindrance? I think that's #1, and I think I'll ask you the rest. Please go ahead for that. Yes.
Okay. I think the biggest challenge is understanding what is expected around sustainability. And then the second one is data. There is a lot of unstructured data out there that you can find a lot of organizations doing a lot of good things, but just not able to bring it, package it like Stanbic in those 4 material topics and present that information. When you reflect on the information that will go into the sustainability report, most of it comes from very diverse sources within the organization, and just bringing it together can be a task.
Excellent. And that question as well, courtesy as well of Hedvig, that question has been answered by my panelists. I think the final question, sorry, I'm sieving through, there are quite a number. Thanks so much for participating. This is quite good. I think I also want to implode to the Stanbic team. There's a lot of questions specific to some of the areas, metrics and all that. We can also answer this, so please make sure you're still logged in on that. However, there's a question that has been voted the most, and so Dr. Waigara, you have the last word here. Is Stanbic Bank currently applying AI? I think that's a question that they're asking. And finally as well, there were two of them, how you're addressing the distress amongst SMEs and low-income households during inflation and taxation unrest. How are you doing it on a sustainability perspective? That is the last.
So the answer for artificial intelligence is definitely yes. We don't assign ourselves as being a catalyst, as a fast adopter. So not every new model of AI will be saying that we're landing, but we are definitely a very much second adopter ones. We've seen how that model has been able to perform in the market. That is a philosophy we take as an organization, because there's a lot of innovations happening. Machine learning, advanced analytics, big data analytics, that's work we're doing. Robotics, we have a lot of that work. If you just look at our credit scoring models for our digital loans, that robot is largely built by our teams. And that's what we continue to be able to see. So I don't think, and also we are adopting. So the question I get asked by my team is ChatGPT. Do they want to use it when they are at work? And we're curating that to say what model. So we use Microsoft Copilot, for instance, to be able to enable our teams to be able to work. So that's an area I would say we're quite good at. I'm not too excited myself with every single latest innovation in AI, but we definitely learned how it can help our clients, how it enables our businesses to be able to progress, and where we can adopt in existing process in our own organization. That's where the best value will come from. In terms of the distress in the industry, let me say that we have kind of turned the corner as an industry. So from our perspective, when you look at our quality of our loan portfolio, and Wanja is here who runs our business, commercial banking as our executive head, we have actually seen more progress. And inflation is much lower, interest rates have come down from what they were last year. So the distress was largely minor that credit was not available at the base of a business. So if you don't have the working capital you need, so we have matching support work done by the central bank and also done by the National Treasury. So we now went to see the growth. Remember, credit growth last year was just below, we could say maybe just 1%. Yet this market, if you think about our peers in the region, is at 12, 13, 14%. That is a sweet spot. Because remember, there are two dimensions. One, you need credit to be able to continue running the businesses. When it comes lower, what happens is there is distress. Yeah, and I'm also seeing good work done in the payment for pending bills. That's another area we don't forget. So the work that we've done as lenders to provide the equity and capital, that's what area we'll be able to say we are able to build. So my view, Mina, is we're in a good moment. I feel the pressure, and the economy throws you back some of these shocks. What we're not good at is always acknowledging those shocks. Over the last 50 years, you see a lot of these shocks you see, and I believe this is the year we need to unleash the growth potential for the industry and for SMEs.
Wow, thank you so much for that. My panelists, I'm not done with you yet. Look at our theme, deepening impact. And so, Edward, you have the first start. I want you to complete this sentence for me. For us to continue deepening impact, we must. You will fill that sentence for you. Every panelist will do that, then we close. So please go ahead. For us to keep deepening impact, we must
continuing the sustainability journey and funding green initiatives.
All right, let's appreciate it with a clap. Thank you so much for that. Honorable Nasra, for us to keep deepening impact?
We must collaborate and make information accessible so that we can create better outcomes.
A round of applause to her as well. Collaboration. Dr. Joshua, you have the last word.
For the private sector, not just to be present, but to be proactive and intentional.
Proactive and intentional. A round of applause for my panelists. I'll ask you to kindly stand. We have a gift for our panelists. So Dr. Joshua, you'll be the one to give them the gifts. So I think I want to request that we have Faith kindly come and help in this process. And then we shall take some pictures on that and then close. Thank you so much for that. We must continue collaboration. The journey doesn't end. There you go. Lovely gifts courtesy. There you go. And we shall take one picture, just one picture nicely, just as a confirmation that this happened. There you go. Yes, there you go. So let's take that picture. There you go. Oh, sorry, I'm being told to also join you. I was moderating. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Once more, let's appreciate our panelists as they exit this stage. Asante sana. And also to appreciate you for the interaction. I can assure you every question asked on the platform as well will be answered, so keep yourself logged into that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to draw your attention again to the screen. We have something quick for you to see, so please go ahead. Over to you, Tech Team.
A seed was planted. A dream born from a bank's purpose to uplift the communities it serves, from crisis to recovery.
Our business has changed after the training of the SME loop.
From classrooms to businesses.
Today I have a business plan thanks to the program.
Remember that journey is unrelentless. You're remaining straight to the course.
This is the 5-year journey of the Stanbic Kenya Foundation. Just months after it was formed, the Stanbic Foundation found itself at the heart of a global crisis. When COVID-19 hit, we stepped forward, donating ventilators, empowering health workers, and keeping small businesses afloat.
Most businesses during COVID closed. We sat with our partner GIZ here, and we came up with a program that we are calling SME Resilience, kusaidia zile biashara zilikuwa zimefungwa ndio zifunguliwe tena.
We were greatly affected by COVID. It was a real eye-opener for us because initially we had only focused on doing the hotel markets and a little bit of export. So when the COVID struck, we could not access our traditional markets. So we had to improvise and do a lot of local marketing, and we are happy we can say we have more clients from the local community and the local market.
2021 marked a turning point. Strategic partnerships were forged with government, global allies, and communities.
I'm a cervical cancer survivor. I started having the cancer symptoms at the age of 20 years, and I kept quiet because I was thinking maybe it is a witchcraft for almost 5 years, until one day I saw someone on television talking about signs and symptoms of cervical cancer. So I decided to go to the hospital, and because of my age, I was told I'm still young to do cervical cancer screening. I went to another facility and I insisted for them to do the cervical cancer screening for me, and it came out positive.
We trained over 40,000 people, screened 30,000 for cancer, and opened doors to capital through over 300 million Kenya shillings in grants and loans.
From the 30,000 shares tuliweka kwa reinvest kwa biashara, sasa tuna make purchase ya 100,000. Kuna competition pia. Nitafanya nini wakati wasee wanaingia wakikompete na mimi? Tulifunzwa kwa training. So kwa hii market saizi ni sisi ndio tunauza sana.
Through our partnership with the United States African Development Foundation, USADF, we have turned ideas into enterprises.
Enterprise growth, an area that we have seen many places, some people just need you to handhold them, to train them. And so when I talk about financial inclusion, job creation, and enterprise development, that really sits well with our core business as the bank.
Through GIZ's MSE Resilience and Blue Economy programs, we supported hundreds of businesses rebound and rebuild.
The training was sponsored by the GIZ, Stanbic, and KIE. In this business SME loop, they have taught us a lot. I didn't know something called BMC, how I should run my business, the key partners in my business, the key activities in my business. Again, they have taught me on how to do record keeping.
It is important to realize that most of these businesses have never really gone through a lot of formal training, and with the partnership with KIE and the bank coming in, we were able to partner with them at the different locations and be able to offer business advice and a few tips on how they can be able to manage their businesses.
From coastal traders to urban creatives, resilience was redefined.
I'm transiting from the main welding to service delivery. I'm now putting more effort in machines that can make work easier, whereby you can even come, give us an order for a window, we do it within maybe hours, and you go with your window, or even a door.
Moving forward, I think social media is going to play a very big role, and technology as a whole going to do a lot in our business.
From over 1,500 applicants across Kenya, 4 cohorts have produced 42 winners, each receiving grants to jumpstart their businesses.
Majority of SMEs in Kenya and in other developing economies are not investor ready. Most of the time when they approach commercial lenders, they are turned away because either they are unable to pitch their investment needs or they even fear approaching commercial lenders. So this is a platform that is helping address those challenges and making these SMEs to be investor ready.
Mean Square last year, hata kama tulikubali, si inaweza kuwa better. Inaweza kuwa better.
The major challenge here is change of mindset. And once we do that, because the community is well off, we can take children to school, but sometimes there is not that desire to go beyond the normal basic education. So that is the narrative that we want to change.
Education is where we have planted our deepest roots. 1,600 students reached with school meals, 1,300 computers donated, and over 250,000 youth trained in digital skills. In 2024, the foundation turned a new page. 3 strategic pillars now guide our path.
As Standard Bank Group and Stanbic Bank Kenya, we are very clear on our impact areas, which is financial inclusion, enterprise growth and job creation.
A former musician turned footwear merchant.
Ati ya kutengeneza sandals na maviatu ilikuwa positive sana on my side. Nilikuwa nauza. Hapo ndo nilijua wenyewe business poa.
A gooseberry farmer building a brand from forgotten fruit.
As time went by, more farmers got into the product, into the system, more farmers started growing, and we grew to a point where now we couldn't even be able to handle the quantities that we're receiving.
Children who now dream bigger because they can learn better. Every program, every grant, every smile, it all tells one story of growth. Our impact is not in numbers alone. It's in the names, faces, and futures we have helped shape.
Wow, wow, beautiful round of applause, even as we celebrate the 5th year anniversary for Stanbic Foundation. A lot of work has gone into that. Thank you so much for that. And just to give some more context, I want to invite Lilian Oyach to kindly come and give us a little bit of a breath of what has just happened. Welcome, Lilian.
Thank you, Maina. I just want to acknowledge our guests in the room, our chief guest, Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, Honorable Nasra Nanda, member of the County Assembly and CEO of Kenya Green Building Society, Dr. Joshua Igara, CE for Kenya and South Sudan, our esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I stand here today to represent the foundation. I represent Pauline, who is not able to be with us here today, a lady who is quite passionate about sustainability and about impact. 5 years ago, today we celebrate 5 years of Stanbic Foundation. 5 years ago, in the mix of COVID, we launched. I remember I was joining the bank at the same time with Pauline at that time. Joined the bank. What a time to launch the foundation. But the video really speaks to the impact that we've had. It shows what happens when partnerships, people, and purpose comes together. It's not just a story about numbers, and that's what the foundation is. It's the faces we have seen. It's the businesses that were able to weather the storm during the time of COVID. It's the children who are now able to focus because of the support we are giving, of the sponsorship, of the feeding programs that we have. Over the last 5 years, we've signed 25 MOUs with the county governments, and Waziri, your county was quite instrumental, one of the first counties that we signed agreements with. The county governments, the national government, international organizations, the UN community. Over the last 5 years, we've disbursed more than $300,000 US to micro, to businesses. And this would not have been possible without the support of our collaborators. Some of them are in the room. So over the last 5 years, we have seen the support, great support, of organizations such as USADF. We have seen the support of organizations like Microsoft, the American Tower, and more importantly, a partner that is here with us today, and we are going to unveil the new partnership, and that is GIZ. We are deeply grateful to our partners because the last 5 years would not have been possible without the support of these partners. So for GIZ, it's our 3rd year. The first year, when we started this program, we looked at resilience, a resilience program that is 2021 to 2023, supporting our businesses weather the storm during COVID. Our second program, Blue Economy, again focused in 5 counties at the coast, empowering businesses to tap into sustainable opportunities. And today, we want to launch the program that is focused on women employment for the Green Transformation Program. And so we are not just launching this program, very important to mention, as Kenya, but we're launching this program as East Africa. And so I'm very proud and pleased to say that our colleagues from the region joined us today. And so for Standard Bank, it's not just about Kenya or for Stanbic Bank. When we looked at this partnership, and we have done it in our 3rd year, we looked at how do we partner across the region? How do we drive impact across the region? I'd like my partners just to wave and recognize them in the room. We have Kai Molei from Tanzania, driving impact in Tanzania. We have Sheila Agaba, driving impact in Uganda. And so today, ladies and gentlemen, when we launch this program, we are not launching just Kenya, but we're launching the region. For Kenya alone, we are targeting 300 entrepreneurs in Kenya. We're looking at how do we drive business practices and sustainable capacity. It gives me great pleasure, therefore, to invite our GIZ partner, Dr. Christoph, to come and give a few remarks. Karibu.
Thank you and good morning. Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, Honorable Nazra Nanda, Member of the Nairobi County Assembly, Chief Executive, Stanbic Bank, Dr. Joshua, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Before I want to start with the speech, I just want to highlight a few things that I've picked up today, also during today's assembly. And I think the first point I think is important to say a few words about GIZ, because not everybody might know GIZ. It's a government agency, and I think we are here to stay, which is important in these days to say. So unlike other organizations, we'll be here. We've been here in Kenya for over 60 years, and we'll also be here to stay. Thanks to our government. Thank you so much. So here in Kenya, we're focusing on many of the things you see here also written on this board. So we're focusing on economic development, we're focusing on private sector development, we're focusing on TVET vocational training, which is an important area here also for our work. We focus on digitalization and artificial intelligence. We're working there very closely with the ministries, but also on energy and agriculture. So I think it's quite a broad spectrum that we've been working here in Kenya. The last point, we have been working also throughout all these sectors with private sector. I think that's an important area to have integrated partnerships, development partnerships with private sector companies, both in Kenya, but also abroad. And doing this in a cost-sharing model, I think this has been worked really well, and we've been doing that as GIZ for many, many years. Lots of experience across the globe on these partnerships, which has been also discussed earlier today as an important area of collaboration. And now linking to our partnership specifically here. So I just want to cite an article from The Economist that many of you might have read earlier this year. It said, Africa has too many businesses but not enough business. And I think that's quite a strong statement, and it's been said many times, but I think what does it mean? I think many of the smaller and micro enterprises need to be able to grow and be part of the formal economy. And that is what we are striving also as GIZ. That is also part of this project that we are launching today. Now let me come to my speech. Let me begin by congratulating Stanbic Bank Kenya on the publication of your 2024 Sustainability Report. The report's theme, Deepening Impact, Building a Sustainable Future, strongly resonates with the core objective of the German government. Stanbic's effort to empower women and youth, support SMEs, and champion climate-resilient investments reflect a shared commitment to the priorities that are laid out in Germany's development cooperation strategy. I would also like to sincerely thank Stanbic Bank Kenya, and especially our colleagues from the foundation, which are sitting over there, for inviting us here this morning. Today marks not only the launch of the important report, but also the beginning of an exciting new regional partnership, one that aims to strengthen the capacities of women-led businesses in the green sector across Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, while enhancing their access to finance. This partnership is embedded in the GIZ program, Employment for Women for the Green Transformation in Africa, called We4D, which promotes women economic empowerment through better employment and entrepreneurial opportunities, particularly in sectors and value chains driving Africa's green transition. Running until 2027, the program We4D builds on a proven model in many, many countries. We've worked in GIZ, which supported over 50,000 people in 8 sub-Saharan African countries to gain sustainable employment. And we are following this on also here in Kenya. On the COVID-19 pandemic, which we've seen on the video earlier here. Together we offered business training, improved access to finance, enabling many of those enterprises not just to survive, but also to grow. We're especially pleased that this model has been since scaled up and institutionalized within the Foundation's broader portfolio. Today it stands as a best practice that has influenced Stanbic Bank's internal policies on MSME lending, a systemic shift that we are proud to have contributed to. Building on this success, we are now scaling up our collaboration, both in terms of quantity, quality, and regional reach. We're excited now to announce the launch of a new regional program that will support around 750 women-led small businesses in the green sector across Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, and help them grow and integrate into the formal economy so that we have not only many businesses, but also a lot of business in Kenya and the region. We firmly believe that this approach will also make sound business sense, unlocking new markets, creating real value for the financial sector. Now, as I conclude, let me express my deep appreciation to the Stanbic Bank Kenya for a continued partnership and commitment to shared goals. We look forward to many more opportunities to collaborate and create impact together and deepen the impact together. Asante sana. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christoph. And I'd like you to still remain on the stage, and you'll be joined by Dr. Joshua on stage for the sign-in ceremony. We want to see pen on paper straight on, so I would request Dr. Joshua to kindly come. Lillian as well, please come so that at least we can put pen on paper right there. Thank you so much. And as you've heard from the remarks, we must continue deepening impact, especially by supporting the SMEs. There you go. I would request as well Faith to kindly come and help in the direction there. And we'll also have Doreen and Thomas come by for the sake of ensuring this is done. So there you go. We are putting pen to paper to ensure that this partnership goes on under this MOU. There you go. You can sign now. Stand just behind, so Faith just somehow behind them. You're more like observers. There you go. Yes, to ensure the signature is the real one. There you go. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Yes, so sort of look at the document and sign again. Sorry. There you go. Excellent. Now look straight at the camera person. There you go. There you go. Lovely, lovely. Oh yeah. Could do the document exchanges. There you go. We're good? Excellent. I'm going to request our guests to kindly come. We're going to take one big picture together, all of us. Kindly come to the second staircase here for the sake of the nice picture that will be taken. I'm being asked that you carry the documents with you, just to showcase that this has been done. One staircase down. Yes, there you go. Yes, there you go. Tech team, if you don't mind, you could help with the stage a little bit. There you go. Excellent. We will be joined as well by Sheila from Uganda and Kai from Tanzania as well. So we'll start with this and then we'll have one big photo with all of us. Yes, Louis as well from GIZ, Worth as well from GIZ Tanzania. Please come by so we can also have and take this picture as well. There you go, don't be too serious. This is celebrating some good milestone. Excellent, so I'm going to request the three of us to kindly come one step down so that the rest can. Excellent. And this photo, we are requesting our chief guest to kindly come. Our chief guest, Bwana Waziri, kindly come and confirm that the government is behind this as well, that we want to see collaborations like this. So please join in there. I love this. I love this. Chief guest to be right at the center. There you go. There you go. Make sure you can see the camera person. He's ensuring that you do that. It's important to note that he has worked at BBC, CNN, so he knows what he's doing. Excellent. Let's keep the smile. The smile, the smile. There you go. Lovely. And that marks it, the MOU. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You may take your seats. And Lillian is going to ensure that the documents with Faith are in safe custody. There you go. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And I cannot wait for this moment now. But Dr. Christoph, that was quite fast, but we have to gift you. So please come by. We have a gift for you. Dr. Joshua, kindly, please come and appreciate. We shall be at the center there. There you go. Beautifully crafted for you. A round of applause to the entire GIZ team led by Dr. Christoph And thank you so much once again. You may take your seat. Actually, Joshua, don't go too far. I think you're going to co-moderate with me at this rate now. I want to request the chief guest to kindly join Dr. Joshua. Waziri, if you don't mind, you could kindly come and join Dr. Joshua. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've been waiting for. We came for the launch. We came for the launch, and that's where we are. And I would like you to kindly come very close to the buzzer. All eyes right now on stage. I'm going to request you to sort of be at the buzzer in a way that you're looking at me. So you'll sort of turn a little bit more because something is going to happen here and I would like you not to miss it. All right? Are we ready for this moment, ladies and gentlemen? Are we ready? There you go. So I want us all to draw our attention to the screen. There is a countdown and you will help me count it. And then we shall immediately after the countdown, our guests are going to press the buzzer to help us launch and see this report. There you go. All eyes on the screen. May the countdown begin. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please press the buzzer now. Chief guest and Dr. Joshua. There you go. Whoa, a round of applause. There you go. We have it. Congratulations. The Stanbic 2024 Sustainability Report launched and ready. Wow. Colorful. One more time, a round of applause for that moment. There you go. Well done, beautiful, beautiful. We're going to have some copies. Priscilla, if you don't mind, come with some copies. Then we shall take some photos. If you don't mind, come closer here. For the sake of my colleagues in the for the state to kindly take some nice pictures. So Priscilla, if you don't mind, let's take some pictures there. There you go. Just to mark this moment, there you go. Lovely, lovely. Yes, please come by as well. There you go. We're going to have this particular photo just to mark this moment. There you go. Excellent, lovely. And just before you leave, do you mind reading it? Just open page 32. Page 32. Yes, page 32 specifically. There you go. There you go. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Excellent. So I think I'm going to make it more practical. Dr. Joshua, page 32. Page 32. There's something there inside. No, page 32. Please open it. Excellent. Yes, I'm being requested that that's the action photo. Excellent. There you go. Lovely, lovely. Beautiful graphics. Excellent, excellent. Just before you leave, we have a second photo, and I want to request that we have Edward, Edward kindly join in. I think he's right here. We have Nasra as well. Please come by. We also have Dr. Christoph. We also have Louis as well joining in this photo. And Timothy, please allow us. And Thomas as well. Please come join in for this photo, just to mark this. These are our partners. So kindly be on stage so we can take this photo as well. It's going to be big. This is going to be a big one. Everybody, you're allowed to admire it. I can see people looking at how beautiful it looks. There you go. So let's all look at the camera. Excellent. And the chief guest and Dr. Joshua, please remain right there. I'm about to be done. So Waziri, please come back. We are yet to do two more with you in a very special way. I want to request that we have the entire Tanzania team kindly come. They wanted to take that particular photo with our chief guest as well and Dr. Joshua. The Tanzania team from GIZ as well, and the team that has been working on this. I think they want to go and say hi to Mama in Tanzania. and say that we were in Kenya as well. Dr. Christoph, please kindly be part and parcel of this photo. There you go, there you go. Excellent. That is Tanzania. Excellent. Lovely. Lovely. Thank you. Please remain right there. We have Uganda as well. They also want to go and say hi to Baba across the other side. So please, Uganda representatives as well, please come by. Please come by for that photo. There you go. There you go, Uganda. There you go, one step forward. There you go, lovely, that's good, excellent. And finally, board members, please be ready. We have this final photo. If you don't mind, it could be coming closer. Board members, all the board members, please come by. Board members, please come up, and KLC as well, please come up. Please come up, board members and the KLC, please come up for this final photo. There you go. Excellent, excellent. Well done. All right. Priscilla, there you go. Excellent. That's it. So this is the board membership and the KLC team. Thank you so much for that. There you go. Let me be close here. Three, two, one. Thank you so much. And my guests, before you leave, this is the final one. I've been asked that the entire Sustainability Committee members have asked, please allow us to have a picture. The entire Sustainability Committee members, please come. Please come. Please come. The entire Sustainability Committee members, very fast, very fast. There you go. Yes, there you go. There you go. Excellent. You can come here in a sustainable manner, in a way that saves time. There you go. There you go. Thank you so much. Please come up. Yes, there you go. Grab your copy and go up there. There you go. You will admire the other one. Excellent. Lovely. And I can see there are quite a number of ladies. Make sure you neutralize in that, which is good. Lovely. Lovely. I love that. Excellent. This is the photo now. Yes. One person just cross the other side. There you go. Lovely. And then squeeze in a bit. Yes. Lovely. Lovely. There you go. 3, 2, go. Excellent. Beautiful. Now you may take your seats for real. There you go. There you go. And at this moment, Priscilla, remain on stage because you're going to give the vote of thanks, and we close. If I may have the podium back, my tech team. Podium back very fast so that we can close. And there you go. And if you have gone down with a copy, it's yours. Enjoy it right away, even as we listen to the final word of just thanking you, so that at least we can close. Priscilla Were, the head of sustainability at Stanbic Bank Kenya. Over to you, Priscilla.
Thank you, Mina. Ladies and gentlemen, as we close out on today's event, I'd like to appreciate all of you for your contribution and support. First, I would like to thank our chief guest, Honorable Lee Kinyanjui, and our panelists, Honorable Nazra Nanda and Edward Kerich. Your rich insights and perspectives will steer critical conversations outside this room and continue to drive the sustainability agenda. I would like to thank Dr. Christoph. Our partnership over the years has scaled many micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, and we're excited to see the transformative impact that the Women in Green program will achieve. A special thank you to our esteemed guests. We appreciate your time and everything that you've accorded to us today. Your presence demonstrates your commitment to building a resilient and sustainable future, and we remain keen on working on this journey together. To the Stanbic board and the leadership team, thank you for advocating for and embedding sustainability in our operations. Leadership buy-in plays a very critical role in sustainability adoption, and your support has been critical and immense. To the Sustainability Committee, my fellow committee members, and the reporting team, thank you for your consistent efforts to ensure that the sustainability is at the core of our organization. Today's report, as you've seen, is a testament of all the hard work that you've put into play. To our partners, thank you for your collaboration and for working with us towards a shared purpose. The sustainability journey requires collective effort, and we are very grateful for your contribution and partnership. And to all my Stanbic colleagues, thank you very much. You play a very instrumental role in keeping us accountable and true to our commitments. To the very work you do every day when you wake up is making a tangible and meaningful difference. And this has been reflected, especially today, as we celebrate the stories and the beautiful positive impact that we've achieved. To our vendors, thank you for your professionalism and diligence. And last but not least, to the media, thank you for voicing and highlighting key issues that are critical to our country's growth. We cannot achieve any of this without your active participation. Finally, thank you all for attending today's launch. I trust that we will all leave here with a renewed call to push for sustainable actions within our ecosystems, our homes, and our everyday life. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Priscilla, for the work. I've also just been told in the house we also have Microsoft, Winnie, and ATC Polycarp as well in the house. Thank you so much for being here, and you're very much acknowledged. Ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end of today's launch. Thank you so much to our chief guest and everybody else who has made this happen. I only have one more announcement to make. Dr. Joshua, once you see the chief guest, we are requesting that we also you come back here for some 2 or 3 more photos because they are not yet done with you. So thank you so much for that. A round of applause as we close this session. Thank you so much. My name is Maina Chege. Asante sana and bye-bye. I've also been told in the spirit of sustainability, all the snacks that were provided, make sure we don't waste. So make sure you take some. Thank you.